Hey, progressive rock in Canada, it's pretty good. Rush, great band. I love them.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, October 6, 2019. This is your award-winning Gizmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1179.
This is No Agenda.
Reading the classics and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I've realized it's Avogadro, not avocado. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yeah, I got a note about that. I guess you got the same one.
No, I never got a note.
Oh,
I actually was thinking, I've been mulling it over. When I knew there was a joke in there when I was reading it from the spreadsheet the first time. And I know and I was thinking, what is he referring to? I know what this is. I can't come up with it. And it just dawned on me this morning.
So producer Dick sent in a note, Dear Mr. Curry, your resident chemist should have caught this.
Yes, he's indeed correct.
It was a donation that someone sent in with the avocado, they said.
The avocado number.
Yes. Definition of Avogadro's number, the number 6.022 times 1023, indicating the number of atoms or molecules in a mole of any substance, also called the Avogadro number.
Yeah, or constant is what most refer to.
So what can you use this for, this fine Avogadro?
Well, you to do most chemistry, you need to work in moles.
Yeah.
And so you need that number so you can calculate how to you need to know how much to dilute something, for example, or to get to a certain number of moles to make to do a chemical reaction. And so you may have to do that calculation to get to the point to add so much of something.
Well, this actually
it's a bear. To me, it was always dreadful.
It's math. Who gives a shit? But
one of the reasons I'm not a chemist.
But this does come in handy to understand the nitrogen issue in the Netherlands, which a lot of people have sent in emails and explained it in more detail to me. This is referring to the farmers who put a massive protest together and drove all their tractors to The Hague, tying up all the highways. There's almost 700 miles of traffic jams, which the Dutch population seemed to pretty much agree with. Here is the issue. The Netherlands is not allowed to have more than 0.05 mole per hectare of nitrogen. And this seems to be a very low number compared to other countries, surrounding countries. But the reason they're really pissed off, I'm really shortening this up.
This is not presented. I'm sorry, but this wasn't presented to us correctly then, because I thought it was like they
equal.
had the same.
That's right. I think that was my mistake, or maybe a bad source on my part. The real problem is, in order to combat this, the governments are saying you have to cut your livestock in half. Not the actual individual livestocks, but the total number of livestock has to be cut in half in order to combat this, as well as, and I think we discussed this on the previous show, the speed limit will be lowered in many parts of the country because that's really going to help the overall climate change situation. Oh, yeah. Well,
that'll reverse it right there.
And so they're so pissed off. Guess what they're going to do? The farmers are not stopping on the 29th of October. They will be doing the same. They will be taking over Schiphol Airport. So they will be driving.
Wow, it's just like Hong Kong.
Yeah, they'll be
spraying with blue dye.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Good on them. Good on them. Because they're not really. They're fighting the EU, and they're fighting. They're fighting being run by technocrats, bureaucrats, and unelected officials. And I think people stand behind them.
Well, I do.
I do too. It's ACL weekend in Austin, or it's actually week because it's 2 weekends. That means
what is this?
Austin City Limits. It's a very large
Isn't that a
festival.
show that's on every Saturday on PBS?
Correct. Only this is the festival version of it. So they take over Zilker Park, big headliners, and the headliners play on the first and the second weekend, which I think pretty unique for festivals. So we have Childish Gambino, we have Guns N' Roses with Fat Axel, and we have The Cure. The Cure on my first TV show ever, first show I ever did, and they were old then. These guys are in their 60s.
Okay, well, and so who are the headliners?
Well, they have 3 headliners.
Okay, who are they?
You just heard them. Don't be a douche.
What?
Yeah, those are the headliners. Well, Childish Gambino, I'd say, is I think he's a big draw, but a lot of people have descended upon Austin to try and relive some of those good old Guns N' Roses days, which is fun to see. But it's a mess. Traffic is a mess. People, and I'm glad we're not downtown anymore, at least. So, and that's your update from Austin, Texas.
They put a country western act in there.
Oh, there may be. They always have the Brothers Peterson. There's tons of acts, but these are the big ones. These are the big headliners.
Oh, that sounds depressing.
Mm. No, I don't know if it's depressing. It's just meh.
Well, I'm just expressing myself. I'm depressed.
Well, then why don't you get yourself out of that funk and take us to the Green New Deal? I know you clipped it.
Oh, you're talking about the baby eater?
Yes. I mean, just in case.
Before we play it, everybody's heard it. I do have the whole clip.
Yeah. Well, let's just play the clip just to enjoy it.
Okay, play the clip.
Okay, so was it Eat
the Babies?
I'm going to be here for much.
Maybe for those who haven't seen or heard it, it's worthy of setting up. This I saw the original on C-SPAN, as this was a town hall with Sandy Ocasio-Cortez. So it was in Queens, I guess, and town hall. So people are talking about, there was Alzheimer's on the menu and a couple other things. Speaking of on the menu, someone stood up and said this.
I'm going to be here for much long because of the climate crisis. We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying, we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2. All of you're a pollutant. Too much CO2. We have to start now, please. You are so great. I'm so happy that you're really supporting the Green Deal, but it's not enough. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people, too much pollution. So we have to get rid of the babies. That's a big problem. Just stopping having babies is not enough. We need to eat the babies. And this is very serious. Please give a response.
Thank you.
Her response is genius. You have that too on this clip? AOC's response? Okay, good.
We'll go ahead.
Okay.
No, we'll go ahead. No. Yeah, no. Thank you. So I think so one of the things that's very important to us is that we need to treat the climate crisis with the urgency that it does present.
Yes.
Luckily, we have more than a few months. We do need to hit net zero in several years. But I think we all need to understand that there are a lot of solutions that we have and that we can pursue, and that if we act in a positive way, there's space for hope. We are never beyond hope.
Sandy O.C. later said that she really thought this woman was having a personal crisis moment and wanted to address it in all seriousness. And I think that's great. This is a new category of I'd call this falls under the activist category.
Yeah. Did anybody figure out who this woman was and what acting troupe she's a part of?
Yes. Apparently closely related to the LaRouche PAC.
Oh, yeah, that would be it. Oh, that's
Makes
perfect.
sense, doesn't it?
She actually even sounds like a Lyndon LaRouche. They all have a weird accent.
Well, but just for a moment, because there's some things that need to be discussed about the performance itself. I thought the accent was I thought, what she was doing here with the barrettes in her hair on both sides was a version of a somewhat older Greta. She didn't have ponytails, but she had kind of the girlish look. And I think the accent was phony, was kind of trying to be a bit of a Swedish accent.
It sounded Eastern European.
Right.
Accent. It sounded more like
it sounded like someone trying to do it, or maybe it was just her accent. But what surprised me is the amount of certainly right-wing, conservative, right-leaning YouTubers, etc., who also took this seriously. Like, they've gone insane. The left has gone nuts. Like they really believed it. They thought that this was real. Which leads me to believe that people don't watch or read anything. They're just like, this soundbite. Great, let's talk about that. What a nut job. Whereas if anyone...
Well, it did stem from an actual professor who did recommend eating human flesh.
Yeah, and she mentioned
out of Sweden, and I think that's where the gag came from.
Of course. I
mean, that's what I would first think. What is this? Is it? Let's take it a step further.
Well, to me, the joke of it, and when I was growing up in our house, we didn't discuss the classics much. But inevitably, there would be a point where my mom would go, it was always about money in our house, no money, money problems. Mom would go, so we'll be eating dog food. That was always my mom's end of, we'll be eating dog food, Jay. And
there used to be, I think it was in the, when was this? It was during the Reagan administration, perhaps, but it was some time
people
back.
Were eating dog food.
Were people, were they?
Well,
the media, the media was playing up.
Sure.
The poor eating dog food and sometimes cat food.
Mm-hmm. Stevie Wonder even wrote about it on Songs in the Key of Life.
And so you ended up with a lot of publicity for it. I don't see with this homeless crisis, and that is a crisis.
Wait, but
I don't.
You're going too far.
I'm just let me finish the thought. I don't see how if they were eating dog food in the 80s that they're not eating a lot of dog food today.
Okay, you're taking it. You interrupted, and they're taking it way beyond where I want it to be. You're now at the homeless. I'm still at the stupidity of this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
In my household, back. In my household, my mom would inevitably wind up saying, "We'll be eating dog food, Jay." And there's only one classic that we discussed in our household, and it was the story of Jonathan Swift. And
the story of Jonathan Swift, or the story
by Jonathan Swift, called A Modest Proposal, which is from the 1700s. And the Modest Proposal was a joke. It was very much the troll of its time. And it was the proposal for preventing children of poor people from what was it? Let me look it up. A modest proposal for preventing the children of poor people from being a burden to their parents or country, and for making them beneficial to the public, which they spelled with CK back in the day. And it was the idea was for the impoverished Irish to ease their economic troubles by selling their children as food to rich gentlemen and ladies.
Yeah.
So it's a classic. So when I heard this...
But people took it seriously as they did with this woman.
Yes, exactly. So I think there should be... Wait a minute, is there a Wikipedia entry to this thing? I bet you there is. They should, if there's an entry for it on Wikipedia, then they should add this to it. Modern day version. So I was just surprised how many people were all in on it and thought that this was the nutty left.
Well, I like the way she played it, and to the point where she's even heckling AOC when she's saying, "Well, it's not. We don't have we have plenty of time."
No, we don't.
We have a couple of months.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Well, let's stick with the Green New Deal for a second.
That's a shame, by the way, that everybody bought into it that way.
No, it's not a shame. It's telling. It's great for our analysis. People don't read jack shit anymore. They look at a headline, they look at a clip and get outraged and go for it. It's completely, it's sad. People are outraged and they don't even know what they're supposed to be outraged about. So Putin was asked about the abuse of children to further a economic policy. That would be the Green New Deal. And specifically Greta Thunberg.
Mr. President, what did you make of Greta Thunberg? President Trump tweeted, I think, she seems like a very happy young girl looking forward to a bright and wonderful future. People took that to be patronizing. What did you make of Greta Thunberg at the United Nations?
Well, I'll frustrate you probably. I don't share everybody's excitement about Greta Thunberg's intervention. You know what? The fact that young people and teenagers draw everybody's attention to the acute issues of nowadays, including the environmental issues, is a good thing, and we should support them in that. But when children or teenagers are used by someone in their own interests, that only merits condemnation.
Yes, condemnation. Thank you, Putin. Very good.
Actually, we never talked about the Trump thing, but I think it's worth discussing, at least for a second. He says she seems like a very happy young woman with a bright future.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I mean, come on. If you don't like that kind of material, no wonder.
It's unpresidential.
It's unpresidential. He's ridiculing a little girl. She's 16. She's not even a little girl anymore.
In Amsterdam, they have a mayor, female mayor, first female mayor ever. And she's been mayor for, I don't know, a year now, I guess. Femke Halsema. She comes from the Green Party. And she's annoying. She's always been annoying.
She's a Green Party and annoying. That's redundant.
Well, also, she's, I don't want to get into it, but her kid was the one that was caught by the cops with a gun breaking and entering. And then it was like, oh, no, it was just a movie prop. It was a disabled gun, and it's just a whole. I mean, she just lied her way through it to get her kid off, who clearly was taking selfies with a gun and a houseboat that he broke into, and that's been just covered up. So, but also Amsterdam is in disarray. There is trash pickup is a problem. They've embarked on this like every city. We're not. We're going to ban plastic and no plastic straws, and you know the drill. It's your typical green stuff. But she has an alliance with another mayor, and she visited this other mayor and stood two of them in front of piles and piles of trash in New York with Mayor de Blasio.
Here today with someone very special, Mayor Halsema of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And Mayor, your city has been a leader in terms of protecting the environment.
Okay, just so you know, no. Amsterdam is not a leader in terms of protecting the environment, but okay, you guys discuss.
And you got there ahead of us when it came to getting plastics out of the lives of everyday citizens of Amsterdam. Tell us about what you did.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you, everything she says is not true.
Well, on a smaller scale. So let's be a little bit humble about it, because what you are going to do is really huge.
Huge!
It's impressive. But we took the plastic out of the city.
Oh, yes.
And we only use wooden forks, sporks, as you said, this morning. And
when I went to Amsterdam not too long ago, John, it was crazy. I could only use wooden sporks. I did not know that this was not happening everywhere yet.
No plastic cans anymore. So
wooden sporks.
We try to do our best only since a year. So you're following very quickly.
Very quickly. We see a good example and we're following.
And you're doing it on a huge scale.
You notice how she says huge scale? She did it twice. That's because the Dutch, when Trump first came on the scene, huge was a big thing.
So he introduced the term?
Yes. And it is now in the vernacular, in common parlance. When they say huge, it's like an automatic trigger. The Dutch go huge.
Very quickly.
Very quickly. We see a good example and we're following.
And you're doing it on a huge
Huge.
You also have to.
Look at the problem. And Mayor, in Amsterdam, what has been the response when you said to people, hey, let's get rid of plastics, let's choose something else?
Oh, everybody liked it, of course. It was great. There's no problem at all.
What people say?
Well, I think there's a lot of support for what we're doing.
Support.
Because people understand that we do have a problem with all the dirt. With what it does to our ecosystem, with what it does to our health. So I think people agree that we need to change.
Well, I want to thank you for being a great example of change.
Well.
And helping inspire us. And I just want to say to everyone out there, we have to get plastics out of our lives. And everyone can be a part of it. Today, with our executive order, we're taking a big step forward. We're going to pass legislation soon to go even farther. But we have to do it in our own lives. Turn away that plastic straw. Don't use a plastic fork if you have a choice. Let's get away from it. Let's save the earth. And Mayor, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much.
Did you give her the keys to the city?
Probably. And
it's probably plastic.
It's a Vooden key. It's a spork. The thing that saddens me is, and if you go back and look at the true history of the United States, and we're talking really Manhattan and New York, when I read a book about this. I have to find the title of this book. It's something the island. It'll come to me. The Dutch were very influential. In fact, a lot of the settlers that came to Manhattan, in particular, the New York area, lived in Amsterdam for several years before they even set sail. And there was in fact the liberal kind of laissez-faire attitude of the United States, in my opinion, if I look at some of the history, not just 3 ships that came in with some pilgrims, there's a little more to it. That is complete Amsterdam, not the Netherlands, but Amsterdam influence.
That's why they called it New Amsterdam.
Yeah, of course. And, look at all the Dutch names, Haarlem, Staten Island, these are all Dutch names. But it truly was the culture of the Dutch at the time in Amsterdam that created a lot of what we consider to be American culture. And that's just, this is horrible to see. This is not even 300 years later. Now we have Vooden Sporks. We're going backwards in time. It's very sad, in my opinion.
Sporks, you want to talk about Brexit? I got a whole bunch of clips.
Yeah, I have. I can set it up with a very short one that really says nothing. So I think it'll be perfect for your barrage.
Time for a quick look now at some other news. Court documents show Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson will comply with the law and ask for a Brexit extension if there's no deal within the next 2 weeks. But a senior government source told the BBC that the law can be interpreted in different ways. Mr. Johnson has again insisted the UK will leave the EU on October the 31st without delay.
So it seems the more I listen to the BBC, the less I understand where they're at.
Yeah. What? That report made zero sense.
That's exactly why I played it. It's like, what am I supposed to understand now? I didn't get, so delayed, maybe, no, he'll do it, something, what, no deal, yes? Please, JCD, help us out.
Well, there's a couple, I've been listening carefully to the BBC, or actually LBC mostly. And I got a couple of interesting clips, and then I have the stuff about what their take is on Trump, which I thought was more interesting than Brexit itself. But somebody's taking it seriously because this is an official government ad. There's a UK-British ad for Brexit.
Get ready for Brexit on the 31st of October. This means that travelling to the EU will change. You'll need to check online if your passport is valid for travel to Europe. If you're planning on driving, you'll need to check if you have the right documents to drive.
And take the keys.
And make sure your travel insurance covers all your healthcare needs. To keep your trip on track, check what you need to do at gov.uk/Brexit. Get ready for Brexit. on the 31st of October.
Wait a minute. Gov.uk/Brexit. No, it was really gov.uk/Brexit. Go ahead, John. I'm just reading to see what they're talking about here.
Now, the other thing going on there is that Boris Johnson is still kind of the prime minister, but he doesn't really have the votes to be the prime minister. And so this has become, because half of he either fired, I think about 20 or 30 Tories got kicked out of the party for being like dicks, which is pretty much the whole party. And a number of them quit, so he doesn't have a majority of anything anymore. But nobody seems to be able to put anything together to get rid of him. And Farage tries to describe this in some detail. And I think it's worth listening to this Farage on the quagmire.
There have been an endless series of meetings going on inside the Palace of Westminster and around it, and very little noise coming from the Lib Dems or the Labour Party. Loads from Anna Soubry, but that's a different subject. And the reason is they simply cannot agree who the interim leader should be, because Jeremy Corbyn cannot get the support of the 21 booted out Tories because he's kind of seen to be a Marxist and other things, and it doesn't work, and the Lib Dems won't go with it because the Lib Dems don't want Corbyn to be in Downing Street and maybe not to look quite as dangerous as some thought he would be, and they just can't agree. Margaret Beckett's name's been put forward. Ken Clarke is wandering around the place doing up his tie, but he doesn't seem to sort of work, and they can't agree on anybody. But time for them is running out. It's running out fast, because here's the big problem. If you're a Remainer, here's your fear. Your fear is that Boris goes on the 17th of October, gets one or more of the EU countries to veto extension, and then Boris then comes back to the House of Commons and says, right, it's very simple, boys and girls. It's the treaty, Mrs May's treaty with a couple of tweaks, or we leave with no deal. Now, I think if Boris did that, it would have catastrophic consequences for the Conservative Party in terms of division within it. But there would be a form of Brexit, not a very good one, but a form of Brexit. If you want to stop Brexit completely from happening, if you are a Remainiac, you don't want to take that chance. So Parliament is going to be prorogued on Tuesday. If they're going to put in place an alternative Prime Minister ahead of that summit, Monday is their deadline, and as yet, they can't agree on anything or anyone.
Oh, my.
So that's the situation. I think it's a good rundown that he gave us.
Here's an idea. Why doesn't Jeremy Clarkson just run for Prime Minister? He's got the right idea and everybody loves him, except the BBC.
Yeah. So I'm listening to this. So there's also a funny situation that occurred we didn't hear about in the United States, but Nick Ferrari, one of the talk show guys on the LBC, London's Been Chatting, had the police commissioner, and who's a woman, a police commissioner of London, and he's carping about this big pink yacht that was apparently dragged down the street and plopped down in the middle of Oxford Circus.
Oh.
And so he's giving her grief about this. And when you listen to her try to explain the situation, it really makes you wonder if there's that this country is maybe should be run by Brussels.
How did a pink yacht get to Oxford Circus without being stopped?
I wasn't there. I don't know exactly how it got there.
Well, you must have found out subsequently as the boss.
No, I don't know exactly how it got there. I genuinely don't.
Didn't the cameras see it coming in? Of course. I mean, I can't park on a red route without one of your blokes or women coming after me.
Of course they saw it. I think the question as to why it didn't get intercepted earlier is partly back to what I have just been discussing.
What, you haven't got powers to intercept a pink yacht?
No.
A yacht that stops in the middle of Oxford Circus, the old Bill hasn't got the power to say, oi, move that yacht on.
Oi!
There is not specific legislation that says you can
so
not...
I could park a yacht this afternoon and I'm not going to get
There is, of course, legislation about highway obstruction.
Yes.
Of course there is.
But why wasn't that exercised, Commissioner?
Because there is also, in the early stages, absolutely enshrined in law, a strong...
Wait. She's not going to say freedom of speech, is she? Because then I'll need to sit down. Do I need my chair?
No, but did you notice, back it up just a little bit, did you notice that she does this the same thing? Obama's the one that started doing this. And we've seen other candidates do it, and she just did it, which is you're talking away, and now it's really important, so I kind of changed the way I say it.
It's not who we were!
This afternoon, and I'm not going to get
There
nicked.
is, of course, legislation about highway obstruction.
Yes.
Of course there is.
But why wasn't that exercised, Commissioner?
Because there is also, in the early stages, absolutely enshrined in law, a strong law which says that we have to allow protest in a democracy which causes a reasonable, you won't think it was reasonable to put a pink boat, amount of disruption.
Did they have a license?
Do you?
I don't, but I can tell you that if we had tried to intercept the pink boat, we wouldn't have had the power to do so. Nor, as soon as it was on the highway like that, is there a specific piece of legislation that says you can take street furniture away like that. And so these are the kinds of things we need to look at. Of course they are.
Oh, brother. That's so typical. So typical of the Brits. Having lived there, it's like, I mean, even the whole convo. Oh, it's ridiculous. A pink boat. A yacht.
Yeah.
Break.
So I'm listening to this network, and I caught one of the news segments. They were actual news. This guy Simon Marks is their guy, and I got 4 short clips. Well, one of them's long, looks like, but the rest of them are pretty short. This is Simon Marks reporting on Trump and what's going on over here from the British perspective.
President Trump.
Sorry.
Wait.
Sorry.
And we've talked about this before, which is the fact that they just parrot the worst of our mainstream media.
Oh, yeah. No, they wake up in the morning, they look at the NewYorkTimes.com, Washington Post, NBC, CNN, and just rewrite it. We don't have to. They're not going to do any investigation.
They've got to add a little flair to it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
There's some gems, not in this first clip, but in this, especially in this Texas clip. But play this, and we'll get into it.
President Trump yesterday, as you know, in the grounds of the White House, broke the law. He called on 2 countries, Ukraine and China, to interfere in America's 2020 presidential election. But
let's just stop. Is that really against the law?
He broke the law and asked them to interfere. He didn't talk about, hey, hello, China, will you interfere in the election, please?
He broke
this
the
is
law.
The way it's being reported.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that.
The law that was broken, according to this guy, is the Federal Election Committee. One of these federal laws for asking for help or whatever, help. Assistance, whatever.
Digging up dirt on his likely opponent, Joe Biden, the former vice president of the United States, and his son Hunter, who used to do business in both Ukraine and China. And today, President Trump returned to the lawn of the White House to justify what the vast majority of observers here in Washington believe is an attempt by the president to break federal election law, which prohibits him from soliciting support of any kind or any value from a foreign government. Here's what Donald Trump had to say today.
I don't care about Biden's campaign, but I do care about corruption. His campaign, that's up to him. Politics, that's up to them. I don't care about politics. Politics, as I think I made clear, and yesterday somebody asked me a question, and I gave an answer, but always in the form of corruption. What I want to do, and I think I have an obligation to do it, probably a duty to do it, corruption. We are looking for corruption.
Multiple times, President Trump at that appearance insisted that there was a distinction between digging up political dirt on Joe Biden, and going after corruption. That strains credulity. Not my opinion, but the opinion of Mitt Romney, a former Republican presidential candidate, who took to Twitter a short while ago to describe the president's actions as wrong and appalling when the only American citizen, President Trump,
singles out for China's investigation, wrote Senator Romney, is his political opponent in the midst of the Democratic nomination process. It strains credulity to suggest that it is anything other than politically motivated. Senator Romney, of course, is one of those Republicans who may well end up determining the fate of the Donald Trump presidency, because if President Trump is impeached by the House of Representatives, there will then be a trial in the U.S. Senate where Republicans like Senator Romney are in the majority. They will all have to decide, are they going to vote to keep Donald Trump in power, or are they going to convict him of high crimes and misdemeanors against the American Constitution? The vast majority of Republicans in the Senate are remaining silent at the moment, and that's not necessarily good news for President Trump, who must surely crave voices supporting him from within his own party.
Yeah, that's taking the show prep from the U.S. mainstream media. Boom. He's got it. Nailed it.
Well, he's got to pump it up a little bit. They're not just puppets reading from the script. No,
please.
He's got some of his own opinions here. Let's go to Report on Trump 2.
Some senators are speaking, but very uncomfortably. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, you will remember him, excoriated by Donald Trump as Little Marco during the 2016 presidential election campaign, was asked if he really thought that it was apt for the President of the United States to be inviting China to investigate Joe Biden.
I don't know if that's a real request or him just needling the press, knowing that you guys were going to get outraged by it. He's pretty good at getting everybody fired up, and he's been doing that for a while, and the media responded right on task.
Blaming the media, Senator Rubio looked as miserable as he sounded in that clip.
Wow! It's a nice editorial.
I saw the clip. He didn't look any different than he ever looks, and he didn't sound any different than he ever sounded.
But let's just take a look at what's happening when he says this. He's saying, the media jumped on it on cue. He's saying that to the media.
Yeah, including this guy.
Let's hear that last bit again. That was good.
Right on task.
Blaming the media, Senator Rubio looked as miserable as he sounded in that clip.
Wow. Wow. Nice one. LBC. Good to go.
So this guy's a liar. So let's go on to the one. I think this is the shortest one, but it's the biggest whopper, number 3.
Another Republican is speaking out against the president, Congressman Will Hurd of Texas.
I think it's terrible. It's something that I wouldn't have done. And I can go 2 days before that, wishing China congratulations on 70 years of communism via a tweet is not something I would do either. China is an adversary.
He is one of more than half a dozen Republicans from the state of Texas who have decided to retire rather than seek re-election and face a possible drubbing by voters in the Lone Star State, furious with President Trump's record in office.
Oh, really? That's why they all resigned. Okay. I'm sure some of them did.
I didn't realize, according to him, Texas is furious. Texas.
We're outraged, I tell you.
Is furious at Trump for his behavior.
Yes.
Orange man bad.
You hate him. It's very frightening. We have to retire. This isn't even the New York Times. This is MSNBC they're translating here.
Yeah.
That's quite impressive, actually.
So the Texans they hate Trump. I didn't realize Texas hated Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
we hate that guy.
And these guys would have faced a drubbing.
Whenever I'm faced with a drubbing, I retire. That's the Texas way, my friend.
It's the Texas way.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this idiot.
More damaging issues for the President of the United States. The release of texts overnight between 3 American ambassadors operating in the vicinity of Ukraine. It is apparent that at least one of them raised questions about whether President Trump was insisting on a quid pro quo, asking the Ukrainian president to dig up dirt on Joe Biden in exchange for withheld military assistance and also a withheld sealed invitation for President Zelensky to visit the White House. For President Trump, the straits here are becoming more treacherous, and the Democrats are becoming increasingly emboldened as their impeachment inquiry, Andrew, gets underway.
All right, that's LBC's US correspondent Simon Marks in the latest dramatic twist in the affair over Joe Biden. I wonder still if Trump has factored all this in, because I saw polls recently which showed Biden's support was going down because all of this activity has focused attention on his son and Biden's business activities, and of course, if Trump wanted to smear him, it seems to be working. Oh. But whether he's damaging himself more in the process, who knows? Oh, brother. All right. I would like to make a case for our stance on this. With some support from some clips, etc. Because we saw very early on, it was only 3 shows ago. It seems like, oh my God. I mean, we've forgotten all about Kavanaugh. We forgot about Epstein. Everything is off the radar. It's all about this. And in fact, let me read this. I got a note from someone who is clearly
man overboard.
And after our previous show, when we discussed this impeachment bullcrap, and I just want to share that so that we can understand where some people are coming from. This person is a listener, and I think maybe even a producer donor. You two disgust me on the No Agenda podcast. Whenever you talk about Trump, you guys always, all caps, defend him. No matter how disgustingly corrupt and criminal his behaviors are. You are diehard Republicans, and it shows. Now, that is quite insulting, actually. Someone calls us Republicans, but okay. It's clear there is no low that Trump could stoop to that you guys wouldn't be supportive of and praise. I've come to the conclusion that you are both hardcore Trumpers, and I will no longer be listening to this podcast. I stand for country and moral values over party, and when any president is breaking the law, I support impeachment. The fact that you two can't see past your crazy loyalty to party disturbs me. How can you let a president exhibit criminal behaviors and claim that you love your country? So I took this to heart and decided to explain what is happening.
Oh, brother.
For there is, of course, no criminal behavior. And the mistake that people on Twitter make is they go back and forth with what the liberals call whataboutism. And they're absolutely correct about that. Say, well, but they got this from Ukraine on Trump, and Christopher Steele was a foreign agent. He did this on Trump. Of course. And even the people yelling, although this person I'm not too sure, people yelling this, they kind of know that. But that's not really what impeachment is about. Impeachment, when we talk of high crimes and misdemeanor, can really be determined. A misdemeanor by itself is a fantastic term, and you can use it for any amount of things. I could even make a case that being unpresidential could be shown to be misdemeanor. But the trick to impeachment is you have to get the entire country behind it. Otherwise, it'll just be useless. I think everyone at this point knows House of Representatives files the articles of impeachment. The Senate then is the judge and jury with the Supreme Court justice, the head justice, the big one, a big kahuna, presiding over it's like a court drama, really, and you have real lawyers and prosecutors. And the Senate, they are the judge and jury. And you need to convince them. And so we've heard already, well, there's 35 Republicans. If they can vote in secret, then we'll get them out.
75% need to be convinced.
Yes. Yeah. So they need the but that doesn't matter. The concept that is being played here, for whatever reason, maybe there's thousands of sealed indictments. Everybody's running scared. They got to do whatever they can. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. But when I even saw the Drudge Report, and a buddy of mine in Holland, Robert Jensen, called me up. He said, why is Drudge turning on Trump? I said, the machine is in full gear. The machine is going 100%. Matt Drudge is a part of the machine. I'm sure he's part of some intelligence somewhere in his background. I mean, have we ever doubted this? No, of course not. So the machine is trying to put into the people the feeling that this president has to go. In fact, George Stephanopoulos of ABC's This Week, a Clinton insider and operative still, interviewed the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who would be the one to actually call for a vote to file for the articles of impeachment, which means it would be real. This is all just talk. Until they actually vote on it, it's nothing. But listen to her own words.
In both the Nixon and the Clinton cases, the House passed a formal resolution to set up the inquiry. Why not take that step right
We could.
now?
We don't have to, but we could. You know who was most afraid of that vote coming out? The Republicans, because they're going to have to decide.
Wouldn't that make the process even more airtight?
No, it's not necessary. We feel that we're on very firm ground as we go forward, and we may go to that place as we go, just because it's a Republican talking point, but it's not necessary.
Okay, so what she just said there is, well, we're not really doing a real impeachment, we're just doing an inquiry, unless I misheard that. So, and it's just generally accepted. Oh, we don't really need it. Let's just get everyone talking about it. That's what she's going for. Need to push this. And how do we tell people this? We have to continually hammer the message.
Facts are there, and we are proceeding to get further evidence as we go forward.
Evidence.
This doesn't hinge on whether Mitch McConnell has the guts to really do what the Constitution requires or what the impact is in the election. But I will say this. Having said all of that, separate from that, the re-election of Donald Trump would do irreparable damage to the United States. We have some serious repair and healing to do in our country for what he's done so far. I'm not sure that 2 terms, it might be irreparable.
So you can see she wants to take it step by step.
2 terms might be irreparable. That could ruin the country. And here's Stephanopoulos talking with the ABC crew after this interview.
You can see she wants to take it step by step, but she is completely committed to this right now. And that's what's going to lead to a real showdown, whether it's weeks or months. It's coming.
But that last statement from her is quite strong.
Very strong.
Oh, very strong. John, did you hear that last statement from her?
It was so strong I can't remember it.
Irreparable damage if he has a second term. Yes.
Well, what proof does she have of that?
No, stop. Forget the proof. It's not about the proof. The whole idea is to put into your head look, like we just discussed earlier. Even the journalists, they're not reading the articles. They're reading headlines. They're listening to sound bites.
The reason I asked the question because that's the question. If I was stepping up, I would ask her.
Please.
If you play more of the clip, I bet you he does.
No, I bet you he doesn't because I watched the whole interview. But again, no one actually goes back to the transcript. Most people on television, including, Nancy Pelosi herself, when they talk about the transcript and what the president said and what the transcript is, I don't know who said what the transcript read, that they're all basing this off of. Even she denies English truth.
I know you support Chairman Schiff, but was it right for him to have that dramatic interpretation of the president's transcript of the phone call at the hearing last week?
So this is about Schiff. You remember he did this whole thing with, made stuff up, made it sound like a Mafia Don movie, and he got criticized, and then he said, oh, no, it's a parody. Schiff, the head of the Intelligence Committee, actually said it's a parody. Nancy, I guess, forgot this.
I know you support Chairman Schiff, but was it right for him to have that dramatic interpretation of the president's transcript of the phone call at the hearing last week?
I want the American people to know what that phone call was about. I want them to hear it. So, yeah, it's fair. It's sad. But it's using the president's own words. So if he's...
Well, those weren't the president's words. It was an interpretation of the president's words. They're saying he made this up.
He did not make it up. And
This is the leader of the House of Representatives.
Oh, my God. You get clip of the day for that catch.
Well, let's finish it up because she literally says, no, he didn't make it up.
So if he's...
Where is she coming from? They got to get rid of this woman.
And I have to give Stephanopoulos some props here because he actually said, no, those weren't his words.
Well, those weren't the president's words. It was an interpretation of the president's words. They're saying he made this up.
He did not make it up. And look, I'm going to tell you something. When I took the oath...
Oh, that's her tell, I've now decided. When she's about,
I want to tell you something.
Well, it's always a look, and then I want to tell you something. That's her tell.
It was an interpretation of the president's words. They're saying he made this up.
He did not make it up. Look, I'm going to tell you something. When I took the oath of office to support and defend the Constitution, as my colleagues have done as well, I did not say I will do this as long as the Republicans can understand the Constitution. So the fact that their loyalty is to Trump and not to the Constitution is not going to slow down or impair our ability to keep the Republic.
Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever she said. But she's full of it because it's not exactly what was in the transcript at all. It's not what Schiff said. It's almost as if she didn't read it, but that's beyond the point. It's not about what's true or not. The idea is to get the entire machine. The machine is the M5M. The machine is the social media, and it's worldwide. It's worldwide. That's why you're hearing the same copies everywhere. What you just played from LBC. And that is the plan. And some people take it rather far. Rachel Maddow is a fairly successful podcaster, a very successful television host, and she is a strong leader for people who love this type of thinking about getting rid of the president. But she got sucked into a conspiracy theory, which was just beautiful. I wanted y'all to hear it because you'll be hearing more of it. It actually contains my favorite bit about the secret vote. If the senators could vote in secret, then he would definitely be impeached and kicked out. Yeah, that's the way we like democracy. Vote in secret. This is all good now. So Rachel Maddow is promoting her new book called Blowout, which I'd like to read because it's about pipelines. Every appearance she's done about this book has not been about the book at all. They show the cover. All right, we'll talk about that later. And they never do. They just promote. Don't talk about what's in the book. They all want to talk about Trump and the impeachment, and she is a form of authority. So she's on The View with the ladies of The View, and they just roll out a doozy.
My question for you, though, is that right? Just nod.
I think he's going to be impeached. Yeah.
Yes. Are you for that or against it?
It's not my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's your read on the fact that, if he is impeached, he'll never be convicted in the Senate because Moscow Mitch is in charge and he's not going to do it?
I think that's likely. I mean, but, that's sort of the way it works. We've only ever had two presidents impeached, one in the 1860s, one in the 1990s, and in both cases...
This is a very interesting way of answering the question. Instead of saying, Bill Clinton was impeached, she just does some dates so we don't really think about it's like two guys, or like a whole guy ago. Well, a long time, something back and then. Who knows?
I think that's likely. I mean, but, that's sort of the way it works. We've only ever had two presidents impeached, one in the 1860s, one in the 1990s. And in both cases, they were impeached in the House, and then the Senate didn't throw them out. That's sort of the way we've done it. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't, if the Constitution requires you, and if the country's honor requires you to impeach somebody, I feel...
Notice the country's honor, not really the law or Constitution. It's the honor. And that's what they're talking about. And for that, from their perspective, I say, okay, I get it. And that's what they're going after, for the honor.
The way we've done it. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't, if the Constitution requires you, and if the country's honor requires you to impeach somebody, I feel like trying to game out what the political consequences are going to be. Nobody can figure it out. Nobody can predict it. We haven't done this enough times.
But look at how it's working. He's unraveling already because of it. Yeah. So it's working.
Let's say he's impeached and convicted, right? Let's just say, because you only need, let's say, 20 Republican senators to flip it. I think you quoted something that said maybe 35 Republicans undercover.
That was Jeff Flake. Yeah.
Jeff Flake are
willing, secretly willing.
Yeah,
if it was a secret vote, right?
Yeah, so let's say that happens.
Okay. She is a lawyer saying, oh yeah, so let's just say that happens. She just that will happen. Like we'll have a secret vote for impeachment in the Senate. This is the resident lawyer of the show.
Quoted something that said maybe 35 Republicans undercover.
That was Jeff Flake. Yeah.
Jeff Flake are willing,
secretly willing.
Yeah,
if it was a secret vote, right?
Yeah, so let's say that happens. It looks like, and then Vice President Pence would become President Pence. But it looks like Vice President Pence knew about this phone call with the Ukrainian president because he had an aide that was on the call. However, he seems to deny that he knew Trump was going after the Bidens. Pence. But that explanation seems a little fishy.
Yeah.
Right? Could he be in as much trouble?
This is just sort of new reporting from the Washington Post, which is that Pence basically did it too.
Yeah.
That Pence, as soon as Trump had this call with Zelensky, went over to talk to Zelensky in person to say, you're not getting any military aid, and we need you to do those investigations. And the whole defense,
Who said that Pence.
which is exactly what Trump is going to be impeached for.
Yeah,
I mean, telling another country to help us in the election is both illegal and impeachable.
Right.
But making it contingent on military aid is just that much worse. Pence appears to have been the guy who connected those things explicitly
Here we go.
to the president. His defense is, now, I didn't know when I was telling him to do these investigations that it was necessarily about Biden. But the president had already had this Biden discussion with Ukraine. Pence's top aide was on it. He'd been given the transcript at least twice. He'd been given it as part of his briefing materials before that. So the whole idea that he didn't know seems really flimsy. And
So
if he gets impeached too...
Then it's Nancy Pelosi, President Nancy
Pelosi.
President
Pelosi! This is how nuts it's become.
We talked about this already.
Yeah, we talked about it after the show, actually. I don't think we talked about
the
it on...
lip Joes?
Yeah, I don't think we talked about it on the show, which is the danger of talking after the show. It's a danger. We shouldn't do that.
But I will say this. A couple of weeks ago, the lib Joes started going back and forth at each other. And this was their scenario that they picked up from somewhere.
From The View. That's where all intelligent journalists get their scoops.
This is weeks ago before they did this. But the point is that everyone's reading from the same playbook.
Yeah, but
what's the playbook?
The playbook is it's not a single playbook. The playbook is shut up. He's nuts. Misdemeanor. Impeach him. Everybody agrees. Everybody's on. It's buffaloing. It's steamrolling. Even Biden. Listen.
How is your role as vice president in charge of policy in Ukraine and your son's job in Ukraine? How is that not a conflict of interest?
It's not a conflict of interest. There's been no indication of any conflict of interest from Ukraine or anywhere else. Period. I'm not going to respond to that. Let's focus on the problem. Focus on this man, what he's doing that no president has ever done. No president.
Focus on this man. Don't look over here. Focus on the man. No president's ever done whatever. Focus on him. That's the game. That's the game, ladies and gentlemen. That's all that it's about.
This. I mean, so we talk about this is, but unfortunately, I feel bad that it puts some of our former listeners, man overboard, whoever that was.
Yeah.
They seem to have bought into the whole thing. It's futile.
Yeah, of course. That's why we're doing a podcast. But that is the system, and it's a big system, and it's been running that way for a long time. It's very possible Trump may get impeached. I don't know. Anything could happen.
I know,
and he may get kicked out. But that's neither here nor there. The fact that this is happening the way it's happening, which can happen to any president and any party, shows you that that our system has become shit. It's just shit with the media and there's no way that it can be fixed.
We've talked about the long-term scheme, which is to get Trump ousted after the first term, using any mechanism they can, and they just try everything they can try. But it works so well in the midterms, so the Democrats could get back the House,
right?
That they're not going to let up on this because this is their only way of winning votes. There's no ideas, and this is why they're going to lose again to Trump, because all they're doing is focusing on Trump. You can't win by hating the opponent. You vote for me because I hate the other guy.
Hold on. So a troll in the troll room says I guess the troll means the Republicans, had 8 years to impeach Obama. Why didn't they? Because they couldn't get the people on board. The people loved Obama despite what he was doing. Ultimately, it's the people who force the representatives to do it. Without that buy-in, they'll never do it. It's not going to happen. So they're trying the Jedi mind control tricks, trying to just wash us with nastiness from television, radio, and social media. That's the plan. That's the whole plan. They think that works. I don't know.
Well, you actually have gone on about about this, saying you do know, and that is that the media's power over the public has been screwed up by the internet.
Yes.
And
I don't know if it's enough,
you made a long speech about it, I think 2 episodes ago, or if not the last time.
But that still holds true, but I don't know. When I see this note from a man overboard, I start to question it.
It's one weak-minded individual.
Oh, listen, I don't care. Either way, it's good for the show. But so I'll give you an example of how the right is countering this. Because, of course, we've dug up some shit on Pelosi. And good shit, too. About her son, Paul, who I didn't even know she had a kid named Paul. Did you? John?
No.
Okay. Well, yes. Paul. And he has a very interesting job.
It is science, 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 and science. Breaking our crippling addiction to oil. They are developing desirable, efficient cars that get more than 100 miles per gallon. My son Paul, who is here with me, tells me that is par for the course and not to be overwhelmed by that prospect that will be considered the normal.
We're having a very exciting day here in Washington, D.C. A lot of focus on innovation and technology to help solve a lot of the world's energy crisis. Both oil spills, which we'll be participating in, cars and efficiency, which is represented today, and space and different adventures in using technology from space to make human conditions better here.
So Paul is management at, or was at the time of this speech, at Viscoil Group, which he was an executive at a gas and oil company, which is okay. You know, it's like, oh, well, I guess. I mean, you know. But, he was also in Ukraine. Oh, no, and they interviewed him on TV.
Hello, I'm Alex Gupta with UATV. Today I'm speaking with Paul Pelosi Jr. He is a San Francisco-based investor and corporate finance expert, and also happens to be the son of Nancy Pelosi, the minority leader of the United States House of Representatives. Hello, Mr. Pelosi. Welcome to UATV.
Thank you, Alex. A pleasure to be here.
What brings you to Kiev?
Now, what do you think he was in Kiev for, Jean-Claude?
To me, with some oil executives, probably that same corrupt company that Biden got involved with.
Was that the answer you would give on television if you were there?
Do I have to ask it in the form of a question?
Yes, if you want the category for the win.
Kiev's a wonderful time of year. I'm here with the Corporate Governance Initiative, and today we're here to talk about soccer. We recently got an endorsement from the World Sports Alliance, and we've spoken with the Ukraine government about collaboration for soccer for young people. Ukraine's got a great history in soccer, and we hope to share in that tradition going forward.
First of all, it's a wonderful time of year in Kiev. I love being in Kiev in the springtime. The blossoms are so great after that Chernobyl deal. And I'm here to talk about soccer.
So you have a corporate governance business, and you're here in Ukraine speaking with representatives from the government, investment bankers, discussing certain things related to the soccer.
Exactly. With the Corporate Governance Initiative, what we do is we work with people to kind of bring people together, a spirit of cooperation. And sometimes religion and politics can get tricky, but sports is an area where people seem to have a good, competitive, healthy relationship. And so it's a pleasure to be here and to meet with the people of Ukraine and to meet the young kids that are very enthusiastic about their athletic futures.
So now watch that be thrown about on Fox News, and then she's a hypocrite, and it's just going to go on and on and on, and it'll spin right back to Trump, and it's just going to go on for another year. But
well, the way I see it, they should either impeach. I beseech, you must impeach.
I beseech? Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what. With that, it's time for me to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in corporate governance, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also, all the morning. Hold on. In the morning to all boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, the dames and knights out there, and the subs in the water. Did I say that?
Yeah, you did now. Well, in the morning to the trolls in the troll room, good to see y'all. And some overboard, some trolling hard, and some just here for the fun. And that is available to you every single day, 24 hours. There's always something going on with the stream. I mean, it can be up or down, but when it's up, just kidding. We had a problem earlier this morning. When it's up, there's always some great shows, live shows as well, and you can interact live, troll the hosts as they're speaking. It's fun to do. NoAgendaStream.com. Also, a big in the morning to NetNed, who we looked it up. I think NetNed didn't he have a one or two art selections in the past?
He did a few. He has done art in the past. You thought he did some. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that he did anything that was picked. I think he's a virgin. And
well, we've popped his album art cherry in this case, as we selected his art for episode 1178. The title of that was Snakes and Spikes. And it was the Dutch farmers on their tractors blocking the highway, and they were proudly displaying their No Agenda podcast banners, as one does during a protest. And we're very happy that he did that. It was a very nice piece. There were other good pieces to look at as well. And you can. It
was actually a hard show it was a hard one to do, that particular episode.
Why was it? What was the problem? I don't remember.
Because everything was almost good.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult. You're selecting someone's creative work. It's I feel like an art judge.
Yeah, you are,
but I'm not really qualified. I don't think.
That's bull crap. You have no idea.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you. Makes me feel that much better.
You're as qualified as any art judge there is.
Oh, there's that.
You look at a lot of art.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for 10 years.
You're a
judge. You've been judging it.
You're a judge.
What you got 10 years experience. What other art judges do you know that county fair judges don't have that much experience usually? And you ever gone to a county fair and see what some of the picks they make?
All right. You've convinced me. I'll return Christie's call. I promise.
About time.
NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can see all of the artwork, and also you can upload your own and participate in this grand experiment, because this is our value for value system. We have a network of people. Everybody puts something in. They get out of it what they want to get out, and if not, then they don't put anything back in. Sometimes it's a yin-yang.
And in my opinion, if you don't put anything in, you hate the show, writing those nasty notes is great. Because Adam is so entertaining when he reads them.
Because you basically just contributed to the show in a very good manner. So you can't get away from our system. Value for value. And we also like to thank people for their financial support, which is an actual real value that you can measure. And we have some people to thank for today's episode 1179.
Starting with guess who finally showed up. Here he is. He's back.
Who?
Sir Anonymous of Dogpatch and Lower Slavonia came in with 1062. So we're getting closer to the bottom of what some of these. He had an issue with something recently, and we have to work on.
What's going on? Tell me what's happening.
Let me read the note. You'll hear the issue.
Wait a minute. Let me just think. Hold on 1 second. 1062. You said.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not a Avogadro. No, it's not. It's part of the Avogadro, but it's not.
It could be an avocado. Thank you for your great analysis and deconstruction from the M5M, and thanks to all the producers that make the show remarkable. I would like to request a correction to your show notes.
Uh-oh.
Episode 1167 shows my name above Sir Euchre of Sandy Ridge. He donated 1167 and I donated 1162. He gets top billing, so please correct. I use snail mail and my donation delivery is variable, but the amount of my donation is not a mistake. And correct information on this is important to me.
What episode was that?
1167.
Okay.
Now, a couple of things we have to discuss before we go on with this note. First of all, there is no real, it's not really by order of when you put the executive producers and associate executive producers in the list, it's not the highest amount of money goes at the top. It's just coincidental. It's done that way because it comes straight off the spreadsheet, and sometimes it might not be in the correct order.
Yeah, especially if someone sends a note, it goes through a different process, and it's in a different.
Well, even when we're putting it together, you might skip one, and then you put it on. It may be at the end. It won't be in the correct order necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to be a deal that it has to be in the correct order. But now, going on from there, it's apparent that, which we've been determining, there's some sort of code involved here.
Yeah.
And when he he gives it away, he's very slowly giving away some of the information that we yearn for. My donation delivery is variable, but the amount of my donation is not a mistake. And correct information on this is important to me.
Okay.
So today's 1062, and that was 11. I have no idea, but there's a string of numbers involved here. And
what I've done in the meantime is I have honored his request, and I have gone back.
He has high priority.
Yes, I've gone back to the show notes for 1167. The title of that was 9-line, and I have put him under Sir Euchre of Sandy Ridge as per his request. Nice. It's very now. So I wonder, what was his amount on 1167?
It was 1162. He donated 1167. Serve Sandy Ridge, and Anonymous was 1162, $5 less.
Okay.
Sorry. Anyway, onward. Sorry for the delay this month. Getting to a place to print and mail has been hard recently. Adam, thank you for your researching the loaves and fishes housing. The U.S. is unique in its religious and volunteer infrastructure that displaces wasteful government bureaucracy and political vote-gathering social efforts by offering altruistic incentive to workers. Unfortunately, volunteerism and its altruistic motivation is being displaced by politically motivated big money donors, Soros, that make it a governmental or business-oriented 501c3 effort. This is not a good trend and a true breakdown of U.S. values. Yes, this has begun some time back. I personally trace this, although you can trace it further back, but I trace it to the Hurricane Katrina, the one that knocked the levees down.
Mm-hmm.
And there was all these volunteers, and then down in that area, there's a lot of hams, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people that can get out there and get the job done. And the U.S. government kept them out.
That's right, especially the hams.
John, is load shedding a new reality in California? I am used to it and have generators in my developing country abodes, but no power Silicon Valley? Panic in the streets? No. The answer to that is no.
Zero panic.
NJNK, and he says, just to clarify, I use NJNK to tighten the donation section, and not because I don't enjoy wonderful combinations other producers request.
And I got to tell you, when we receive something from Dog Patch, I'm always delighted. And it's not, the first response is not because of the amounts he donates, which are astronomical in our world in podcast terms, not in Rachel Maddow's world, but in our world. But it's the fact that he keeps doing it, that we hadn't heard from him for 6-7 weeks. I was worried. I'm like, I hope he's okay. We have no idea who he is. We don't know where he's from. We don't know what country he's in. And
he travels a lot and he's a Muslim.
And he likes code numbers, which now I'm just racking my brains over this. I mean, clearly he wants us to figure it out because he's hinting. Or am I?
Well, I think we've mentioned it before, but just to make sure that we try to figure it out. Well, we have code busters that are in the audience.
Yeah, that's not us. We're
code busters.
We are not the code busters here. Well, thank you very much, Anonymous with Dog Patch in Lower Slobovia. And you will be on top of today's executive producer list, where you belong in this case. So thank you.
Codebusters.
All right. Onward to Anonymous in Yarmouth, Maine.
Anonymous dude named Ben, to be exact.
And I believe this is the note from him. Well, how anonymous is this guy?
He's anonymous.
Well, you have his note?
Yes. Thank you so much for No Agenda. The two of you have enhanced my life immeasurably. And he becomes an Insta Knights today with $1,000. And he's from Yarmouth, Maine. I think you mentioned that. Can I please take the name Sir #blessed if available? And I'd like kava tea to be added to the roundtable refreshments. And can you play the 2030 Apocalypse and It's Real jingles? Why I see an anonymous dude named Ben in his email. You see something different? I think we should err on the side of caution.
No, that was confused because I had the wrong email open.
Okay. So, just two in a row. Fantastic. Thank you so much, anonymous dude named Ben. Yes, and I'm going to order the kava tea for you right away. And as far as I know, that name is available.
2030 of the apocalypse.
It's real. It's real. It's real.
You've got karma.
Neil Gardner comes in next. We're 4, 5, 6, 7, and he actually sent in an email, which I have in front of me. I printed it out, old school, and it's got a big fan of both you guys. Adam from Headbangers Ball and the early MTV days, then Mevio. There's Pod Show in the middle, and John from PC Magazine and Cranky Geeks. I always saved Inside Track in your editorials to read last. They were the best. Okay. So I've listened for a long time and never contributed. Value for Value isn't covered with this donation, so more will follow. I only have one beef. I finally got into D-Star to participate in the ham takeover. I found that it's moving to All-Star and Echo Link. I'm a CW and a data guy over HF anyway. Like Dvorak, I keep my HT in the glove box. And then he has his request is China is asshole. Keep it up, guys. 73's Neil to NG5NG.
Can I add some content to the donation segment and talk about this for a moment?
I would hope you would.
Okay. So thank you very much, above all, for your support of the show. I actually want to make a pitch for ham radio, and I'll do that here in the donation segment since it's never that long. Yes. So we've set up an all-star node, actually K9MLS Mike in Minneapolis, and his and Paul KB9TYC, I think. And they sent it to me, and the whole thing is like almost turnkey. All I had to do was plug it in, configure some ports on the router, and up it goes. And now anywhere in the world, people can connect their own radios and repeaters, or just something old you have laying around to each other, and you create this large network where if you hit the mic and you start talking, it'll go out and this could be in Australia, it could be in the Netherlands, it can be East Coast, West Coast, everywhere. And that is now ready to go. And actually, this is Ham Radio 2.0, and I think that's the part that I wanted to mention for a second. The old ham radio that we know of is, sounds like Bruce Parents would say. We've played this a million times.
Now, here we have ham radio, guys. Ham radio is the public service network of last resort. When the apocalypse comes, we're the guys who are going to save the world, right?
So, no. That's the old ham radio. Now it's ham radio 2.0. What we're talking about here is actually a very sophisticated voice switching network. It's based on Asterix, which is, used in the largest corporations in the world. It really is a voice network of great quality, and it's ad hoc. No one controls it. you can really connect anywhere you want and make your own bubbles of networks. But more importantly, when people say, oh, ham radio, bunch of weird guys, it's no weirder than people yelling at people they don't know on Twitter. It's not any weirder than that. Think of the weirdness of people going on Twitter and yelling at each other. They don't even know who they are. This is like Twitter, but with civility. It's so civil, you actually have to take a test to join the club. We don't have pronouns. You identify by your call sign. There's no outrage. And because it's not full duplex in most cases, you're talking over, someone else talks, it forces some people to do something incredibly strange, to listen to the other person. It's very interesting. In fact, I would tell you, please get your sons and daughters into this particular, I'll call it a hobby, whatever you want. If you want to call Twitter a hobby, we'll call this a hobby. Tell them, I'll give you all the stuff you need to become a member of this network. There's also respect. There's no nastiness towards women or women towards men. You took the test, you got the ticket, you belong in the club. We'll talk with you. It's like aviation where people are respectful to each other, otherwise people get hurt in aviation. And this is digital. These are Raspberry Pis, Arduinos, satellites. I mean, there's interesting things going on, and the only problem is this stigma that it's a bunch of old dudes who are talking about how well you receive me. And while that is certainly true, the Ham 2.0 is people having nice, fun conversations with each other. It's very much like No Agenda meetups, and it's with complete civility. So if you want to learn more about this, if you want to connect, and you can do it now. In fact, if you don't have a license, you can even listen to a live stream of what the No Agenda hams are doing. Go to k5acc.com, and it'll show you how to connect. If you have a $25 Chinese radio, you can become a part of this. That's all that it takes. And your license, which is $10 and 60 questions. You have to get 40 right. Yeah, everyone's like, who's going to go configure John's radio to get on this? Like, no one's raising their hand, believe me. So,
frequency mode.
I believe that there's a big future for this new ham radio if we can just ignore the old trappings of, hey, bud, how you doing? Yeah, great. I receive you. Where I'm over here. Well, good signal. No, this is, it's like an IRC chat room, and except it's on voice, and you're forced to listen, and you might learn something interesting. And No Agenda is going to lead the way of Ham 2.0 as far as I'm concerned. K5acc.com to learn more. There you go.
You always learn something in the donation segment.
Yeah, that's why people always skip it. And I'm going to give Neil his
China is asshole
and a little karma for him.
You've got karma.
And by the way, you can also get on Echo Link, and you can use apps and all kinds of things. So there's tons of ways. It's all at that website. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Maxine Waters Gravel comes in with $333.33.
Did you have a note from Maxine Waters Gravel?
Yeah, well, you didn't get the note under what was suggested because Maxine Waters Gravel actually has an email itself.
Okay, I did not know.
Yes, Maxine Waters Gravel, and that's what you'd look it up as. And so the Gravel writes in, JCD, I'm humbly requesting the title of Sir Maxine Waters Gravel, Knight of the Cheap Laughs.
Oh, my goodness. I don't believe this was on the list, was it?
Why, how could it be? Nobody got this mail but me.
Oh, there you go. Okay, Maxine Waters Gravel will become Sir
Maxine Waters Gravel, Knight of the Cheap Laughs. You still have the pen out. Don't leave the pen.
Yeah, I won't leave the pen.
Since it was not too short a notice, I'd like to ask the chef to prepare skillets and mint tulips for the round table.
Now, was it Maxine Waters Gravel who sent me the mug?
It's
that someone
possible.
else? Because I have a gripe. That's the weed mug, correct?
No, the weed mug came from weed.
Oh, let me tell you about the weed mug. It's defective. Have you tried the weed mug?
No, I use it as decoration. Why?
Well, when you pour a scalding liquid into the weed mug, the handle quickly assumes the exact same temperature as the liquid inside. It's defective. Isn't that supposed to? The handle is supposed to be colder. It's supposed to insulate you. It doesn't.
Well, I guess that's
cruel,
not right. There's micro cracks or something in the porcelain.
It's a cruel joke. Happening. All right, I've got the skillets for him and the.
He has a jingle. First he says, "Love you guys, no homo," and then he has a jingle request, which I could have given you earlier.
Yeah.
Chong Ching China a-hole, and don't raff, and goat karma.
What is Chong Ching China?
I think isn't that Trump going ching chong chong ching chong? I think that's the Trump. I don't know.
I really don't know what that is, but okay. Don't raff,
China asshole, and don't waff plus goat karma.
I'm trying to think what I have. Tapu Tata Ching Ching. If that helps, we'll do.
Remember when Trump is one of those little noisy things he does when he used to make sound effects.
I don't have it. I'll do what I have, and I have what I do.
China is asshole. Don't laugh. Why you are laughing? Shut up.
You've got karma.
The best I can do for today.
Good enough. Onward to David Kyle, who is from Mount Airy, Maryland, 33333. Another note to read. Today's note reading day with John. A couple of months ago, I sold my business and retired from the company that had a lot of dudes named Ben. It's been a while since I have donated, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to start my next career. I can think of no better place to begin the next phase of my life as an executive producer for the No Agenda Show.
Excellent.
Excellent. 33.
Very good.
The show has given me many years of education and enjoyment. I'd like not only to make a donation, but give back with some research I've collected over the last year for a paper I've written named Global Glacial Activity and Sea Level Rise.
And I happen to have a copy in my hands right here.
Yeah, it's curious. He sent you one.
Came in through the P.O. box.
The show turned me around about climate change, and I had to create this paper to have any credible conversation with my M5M brainwashed friends. I have sent this paper to Adam for his review. It is a collection of evidence from NASA, the IPCC, NOAA, and other sources demonstrating how we're not all going to die from this bullshit pumped out by the media. It's not a great paper, but it's more legit than most of the other crap we get shoved at us in the news. Please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
And share some jobs karma for the working stiffs out there. Dave Kyle, Maryland.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
He should consider publishing this publicly. This is the second draft.
Well, maybe we should put it together, help him put it together, and publish it as a No Agenda one-off.
Well, that's a good idea. I mean, it's in a binder. It's nicely put together. I only got it yesterday. I went to the P.O. box yesterday or Friday, and so I have to still go through. It's not that big. It's only how many pages is it? It's only like 20, 25 pages.
Had it.
Yeah, it's also in my P.O. box from Sir Mark Hall, a nice book. We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion Swindle by Bill Casing and Randy Reed. I mean, I have a great P.O. box. I got a laughing goat, and I got the No Agenda DC meetup framed picture.
It was a laughing goat.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You haven't got that? Here, this is from Hig Hawker. Looking forward to hearing simultaneous goat screams, which means you must have one as well.
Well, I have a goat. But
did you get the screaming goat? Yeah. So wait. Did you get the little goat in a box?
I don't have a goat in a box.
Okay, so it's small. It's ages 7 and up. Become the owner of your very own screaming goat. With this desktop companion, press the tree stump button to hear the high-pitched bleats that cause the screaming goat sensation to go viral. Kit also includes a 32-page illustrated book of fun facts and trivia about these famed farm animals.
Okay, we're off the rails.
It's fun facts, okay? What is a large group of goats called?
Goatees.
A team, B, a horde, C, a pack, or D, a herd?
A pack.
No, it's a herd. Anyway.
Got me stumped. All right, onward. Sir David Von Sunder, the Black Knight of the Pacific Grove. In, guess where? Pacific Grove, California.
Makes sense.
$250. I realize it has been way too long since I supported the greatest podcast in the universe, so I thought I'd better step up. Thanks for all the work you do supporting the mental health of the Knights and the many producers out there. We depend on yo. It means you, but it said yo. Sir David Von Sunder, the Black Knight, that's it. No, why don't you give him a karma, just a regular karma.
You've got karma.
Wodek Zenek, I think. I can't pronounce his last name. I'd have to look it up on one of those pronunciation things. It's Zieleniec.
Zeleniak.
Anyway, he's in New York. He's in New York, 23456, one of my favorite donations. And he says, no jingles, no karma, and thank you.
Thank you.
And then not last, but almost last, is the September Minneapolis meetup, which sent in a $204 accumulated by the show. By the way, if show organizers want to do this, I think it's fine. And he sends it as a check. And he's got a bunch of only Joel Nelson is above $50. So Joel gets a call out. And everybody else is just a accumulation of small donations. He says, I don't know how many people were there. 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of people show up to these things. He says 5:30 Saturday to Friday. 25 people showed up. About every other.
Wait, where was this? Where was this? Where these people?
Minneapolis.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He says Saturday evening meetups in a brew pub, Minneapolis, northeast Minneapolis to be specific. Okay, well, who knew?
Cool.
So there you go. And they came in with $204, and Austin Wilson in Sammamish came in with $200 and writes in, this donation brings me the title of Baron. After recently moving to downtown Sorry?
I said nice.
Oh, after recently moving to downtown Seattle from the ritzy little suburbs of Sammamish, I will be changing my title from Sir Austin of the Snowy Cascades to Baron Austin of the Puget Sound. Puget. I'm requesting these jingles. Don't eat me, Hillary Clinton. You might die, and it's true. Thanks for keeping up the great deconstruction of the M5M. Dame Laura of the Snowy Cascades, and I love discussing your show.
Don't eat me, Hillary Clinton.
You might die.
That's true.
You've got karma.
I should reread the last sentence since I misread it. Dame Laura of the Snowy Cascades and I, we love discussing your show.
Got it.
Together, the two of them. It's not like he just likes talking about the show for no reason. All right, and that would conclude our list of associate executive producers for the show 1178.
79 actually today. 1179.
Oh, 79.
Yeah, 1,179. Do we have a delay? Am I coming through delayed for you, or is it sounds like it's like we have a...
Why, does it sound delayed?
No, when I say something, sometimes it takes a while, and then you go, what?
I don't know. You want to... No. I don't know. I think it's fine. You just interrupted me when in the middle of something, and it took me forever to figure it out.
Okay.
I do want to have at least one more meetup note, which is the Colorado Local 719 and the Phantom Canyon Brewing. I guess they came with $111, which will be listed later, but they're having another meetup on the 25th. So I don't know if that's on the list.
I think so. Mimi sent me the whole list, and we have 2 other meetup reports to do in our second report. But now I'd like to thank these executive and associate executive producers. These are real credits, as you will probably know by now, but not everybody does. They can be used anywhere that credits are recognized, and these credits usually are, and people are impressed by any executive producer of anything. No one's going to go and listen to the show, believe me. Even people in media don't give a shit about what they're doing. But it's impressive, and you should use it to your advantage, and we thank you above all for your courage and participation in this grand experiment we call the No Agenda Show with our Value for Value network. More in a bit in our second donation segment. You, of course, can always help us out for the Thursday show. All you have to do is go to our website, conveniently jingled,
Dvorak.org/NA.
And now you know all about hams, I guess. Go propagate.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order.
I'm back.
Shut up, slave.
Well, she's back.
Did you hear that? It just sounds like she's back.
There's a funny article. I didn't. There's no clips of it, but Willie Brown, one of the major players in California,
in Kamala's life, yes.
Well, that too, but in California politics, Speaker of the House, Mayor of San Francisco, he's very, very powerful. He came out with not an editorial. Apparently, they'd given him a column in the San Francisco Chronicle where he's promoting Hillary.
Really?
I don't see
Kamala.
why we run anybody but Hillary. She's got the most brand recognition. She should have won the last. Pretty much my essay, which is
wow
at the Cosmic Weenie. Pretty much my essay going on and on and on about it. Never mentioning Kamala, but he thought that Biden's fading and Bernie can't win and Warren is divisive.
This is interesting. Last night, and I stayed up late for it. Saturday Night Live, which luckily does come on earlier in our time zone at 10:30, and I really wanted to watch for 2 reasons. One is Phoebe, the woman from Fleabag, was hosting, and I think she's pretty funny. But also Taylor Swift was the musical artist, and you introduced me to Taylor Swift in the very beginning of this show, and I thank you for that. Although we did make some fun of her, you always liked her. And her performance last night, she's just fantastic. She's a great performer. She is, in fact, on my list of favorite celebrity women. She is nudging Jennifer Aniston out of my favorite spot. I think Team Jen is hurting because of this. Anyway,
well, Jen's a local girl for you.
Yeah, she's from Dallas, isn't she? Originally?
No, Austin.
Really? No.
Yeah, I met her in the Austin airport once.
Jennifer Aniston is from Austin? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. She's from Austin. I met her at the airport, and she's flying into somewhere or other. And we both were sitting. I actually sat across from her too, so I get to chat with her a little bit, wearing sweatpants. I didn't recognize her. She was standing right next to me at the ticket counter. I looked over and I said,
she was born in 1969 in the Los Angeles neighborhood of Sherman Oaks.
Okay.
Not even close to Austin.
She has a place in Austin. That's what I was told by the locals.
I think I would know. All right.
Well, I'll look into it. You made mistakes before.
So have you, my friend.
Yeah, I know. That's what you like to condemn me for. So let's go to one of these mistakes. I want to go to this one. This is where you just jump all over me for making just the mildest of commentaries, and then you get condescending, you become patronizing, and then you insult me because of some just minor thing I said. Play the clip. Challenge 1.
Oh, God. No wonder I knew something was wrong with you today. Like, what is up Joe? Well, there you go. John's butt.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
In episode 1174. Yeah.
So when you hear somebody say, we're dependent on Saudi oil.
Yeah. Who's
it's bullcrap.
Where's he getting his check from is the first question.
So it spiked up, and then it ramped down as fast as it spiked up, pretty much, and it with a net result of nothing.
Exactly,
nothing burger, as you like to say.
No, I don't say that. I've never. Screw you, Dvorak. I've never. No, find it. Bullshit. I've never said nothing burger. Recently, what you want?
Yeah, within 2 shows.
I'll give you 4 shows. Find it.
Make it
find
6.
It. 8.
8.
Find
Done.
it.
Okay.
And then we'll count the times you go,
You're supposed to stop me from doing that.
It's impossible. This is you. And it's the imperfections that make you perfect. All right. In the last 8 episodes, I presume someone did some work for you and went, hey, you can finally put that curry in its place.
You should be apologizing instead of condemning me for doing what you challenged me to do. You challenged me. You got to find it to prove it. 5 shows earlier.
Oh, my goodness.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
In episode 1169. Epstein has a ranch in New Mexico, the Zorro Ranch.
Okay, this is actually a good point, because go on, and I'm going to confirm what you're saying.
No one killed him. He hung himself. The camera was broken.
2 cameras.
2 cameras were broken. Some of the footage was unusable. What is your problem? Don't you understand?
The guards were asleep.
It's a big nothing burger. There's nothing to see here. Yeah. No, we're stupid. John, I cannot tell you how sorry I am.
Yeah, okay, that's insincere, but I'll take it. Now, I do have 2 ISOs for consideration. And by the way, you should have remembered it was only 5 shows earlier that you said nothing burger, and you had said it before. That's one reason it's stuck in my brain. You don't say it much. But I'm shocked that you would condemn me for pointing this out, and I only did it casually. But let's listen to the challenge ISO.
It's a big nothing burger. Yes.
And then the other one, which is the competitor, you can pick up either one. This one actually may be better, but it may be not. Eating babies.
Eating babies.
We got to start eating babies.
I think that one's better, although I kind of like the... this is the one that I kind of like.
I'm back!
But I don't know. Well, anyway, yes, you're right. I feel really bad about this, especially since on the last show I told everybody how much I wanted Hillary Clinton to come back in the race just for you, because you've held on to it. So, but I understand that my oversight completely taints my good feelings towards you, and I'm sorry you took it that way.
Taints.
I know, I said taint. I know, I put taint in there. All right, now, you got me.
Which, of course, is just, again, you just
no. What do you want me to say? I was in the middle of setting up a clip, and all of a sudden I'm being excoriated.
All right,
and rightfully so.
To point out, you have said nothing burger.
Yes, you're correct.
And you didn't do it ironically. You actually threw it in there as
I feel embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. You're right.
Why are you embarrassed?
I cannot believe that I used the term nothing burger the way Van Jones launched it. I feel like a heel. And now that I hear that back, I'm embarrassed by that. And I'm embarrassed that I was so adamant that I would never use it. I feel the shame. Could everyone please chant shame, because I feel bad.
Shame. Shame.
Still said taint though. Anyway, Jennifer Aniston has a place in Austin, apparently. I have no reason to not believe it, other than living here for 9 years, never heard it.
Well, there's a lot of famous people live in Austin.
So, Taylor.
By the way, you've said so at least 4 times today.
Okay, good. Is there anything else you'd like to? I mean, I'm. You have no idea. My Tourette's is in high gear right now. I'm glad there's no video. fucking tripping me out.
I wish we were on video. So we'd actually probably pack them in.
I mean, my eyes are barely open. They're so squinty right now. It's just, you're tripping me. All right. So Taylor Swift, as I was saying, has pushed Jennifer Aniston out of the top spot for me. But as I'm watching, and what I'll do if I really feel the need to watch a Saturday Night Live, I will not go any longer than Weekend Update. And it's like, okay, so I've seen the artist perform. I see Weekend Update. Weekend Update, and this comes back to what we were talking about, The Machine. Now, Saturday Night Live, their audience isn't as huge, but it's culturally very important, and their videos go viral, and people talk about what they said a lot. And this will give you an idea of where the real money is betting. So I don't know what Willie Brown is thinking about with Hillary, although we know, of course, what's really happening. But NBC did a great job of positioning their favorite candidate. And it happened during Weekend Update, where they sometimes have a guest. So in this case, the guest will become a parent, but I cut this down, the whole thing was way too long, so I cut it down to a couple minutes. You'll hear them slam, in succession, they slam Trump, of course, that most of the show is about slamming Trump, then Biden, then Bernie, and they don't even talk about Kamala. But listen to this.
Trump keeps saying there was no quid pro quo, which can only mean there was mad quid pro quo. Whenever a guy with like a 30-word vocabulary starts quoting the law in Latin, it's because he breaks that law all the time. Trump hasn't been handling this impeachment news well. I mean, he's been on a Twitter rampage. He's openly called for China to investigate Joe Biden. And it also came out that Trump suggested adding a moat filled with alligators and snakes to his proposed border wall. I don't know how to say this, but are we sure it's okay to make fun of this guy?
Twitter removed an anti-Joe Biden Nickelback meme that was posted by the president. Which is a sentence that if you had said it at any other time in history would have meant that you were in the middle of a stroke. I also want to point out that Nickelback is Canadian, so Trump was still technically using foreigners to go after Joe Biden. In the third quarter of this year, Bernie Sanders raised $25 million, and then he did what any 78-year-old would do after winning $28 million. He had a heart attack. Senator Elizabeth Warren has raised over $24 million in the past 3 months. Here to comment is Senator Elizabeth Warren.
All right.
Okay, so this is how it works, and it's beautiful the way they executed this. Slam everybody else. Then talk about the money, although they never mention how much money the Republicans and Trump raised with their scamish win red, which was $125 million. But now let's go into Elizabeth Warren. And this is, I think, expertly done if you want to promote a candidate as a show, as a network, and probably as a financial backing, just thinking about what NBC represents. They're now going to throw all of these horrible things that are said about her to the fake Elizabeth Warren, who will then address them in a fantastically humorous way. It's what any candidate dreams of.
So hold on, stop it before it starts.
Yeah.
Who's playing Elizabeth Warren? Is it Kate McKinnon?
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Hello, hi, Senator.
How are you?
For a handshake. So you raised all of this money without any corporate donations, is that right?
That's right. That's grassroots. And guess what? Mama loves to garden.
All right, so there's your first. It's like, no corporate donations. You're so awesome sauce.
That's why every day I spend 4 hours taking selfies with every Warby Parker customer in America. And then I unwind by calling all my small donors to personally thank them.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that there's been some big money donors for Democrats who had said they would rather vote for Trump than you.
Now, this is the next thing that everyone's been talking about.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Wait, well, listen to how she does it.
What? You're kidding me. What? The billionaires don't like me. Oh, no. Look, I'm going to tell them the same thing my grandson told me when he took me to Avengers Infinity War. This ain't for you. That's why you don't like it. But I don't know. Then again, taking big checks from Wall Street worked out great for the last lady running for president. Let me just skip Wisconsin and change my name to Emails Benghazi while I'm at it. I'm in the fight.
That's how it works. Discredit Clinton at the same time. Coming from NBC, that was beautiful work that they did there. Liz Warren is their bitch right now.
Well, we've spotted this before that they seem to be on the Liz Warren bandwagon. This won't last once Hillary shows up.
I know. But still, well done.
Was it you that said this, or what? Because I have yet to identify this person as one of the things. I have a selective memory. I won't remember certain things from certain people who want to remain anonymous, for example. I'll literally cannot remember who it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trick. But once in a while, it gets to me. So I said so. And now it may have been my wife. It may have been you. I know it's not JC. I checked with other people. But somebody pointed out this really, oh, yeah, it's not in my essay. This is the one thing I should have put in. I might add it. That Hillary Clinton feels entitled to such an extreme that she is not going to let Elizabeth Warren become the first woman president. Was that you?
I think, again, and we have to stop doing this. I think we talked about this after the show. Because it came to me after the show, and I said, it was a little different. I said, no way in hell would Hillary Clinton ever let any other woman become the first female president before her.
It probably was you. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Now,
please keep me anonymous.
It's too late now. But the point is that if that's true, if we're going to take, let's adopt that thesis. That there's no way in hell that while Hillary's alive, that a woman is going to become president unless it's her. Is it possible that they pushed Warren up to the top and NBC is behind it to lure Hillary in?
Meta, but why the hell not? Yeah.
It's very meta, but it's makes sense, because why would NBC take a chance on pissing off all the other candidates and then start extolling, and we've noticed this before, extolling Elizabeth Warren when she hasn't got a prayer to beat Trump? Let's bring back Hillary. And now we had the Willie Brown thing that just ran in the Chronicle.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
This bet, by the way, a couple of people out there in England, they're making these bets, are 13-1 that Hillary becomes the nominee in the betting houses. There's a lot of people betting. I mean, this is a $100 bet. This is an easy way to make $1,300 perhaps. I'm not recommending people bet.
Do you mean if you put 100 in, you could win 1,300? Is that the idea?
Yeah, it'd be 13-1 bet.
Yeah. What's the spread, or doesn't it work like that?
No, it doesn't. It's the spread. Woo!
Hey,
I got it.
Okay. Now, I like that. I like that idea a lot. I like it a lot. Now the truth.
She's coming. She's back.
Well, one of our trolls made a good point and said, if you recall, SNL had Trump guest host a year before he became the nominee. So this, of course, was not the real Elizabeth Warren and not a guest host spot. But let's see. I mean, why wouldn't they, under the guise of promoting her book, why wouldn't they have Hillary come in and do a hosting episode? Has she ever hosted SNL? I can't recall, actually.
Somebody in the chat room, the troll room, can look it up because they have a list of hosts on Wikipedia. It's possible that she has. I think she's done cameos on the show, real as her, not Elizabeth Warren. I don't know if she's done that. She may have too. Mm-hmm. But it's beside the point if the idea is they didn't put Trump on the show so he could become president. Let's face it.
No,
NBC.
Of course not. Of course not.
But
he was on NBC at the time,
the plot
too.
thickens.
I like it. I like that a lot. Now, when is the next debate?
The 15th of October.
Okay, so that's next, what is that, next Monday? Tuesday?
It's Wednesday. I believe it to be it could be a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Yeah, I think taxes is Tuesday, I think.
And the day after that, October 15th would be taxes. Then it would be Tuesday.
I've always said that we should make election day on April 15th or April 16th when people have to actually do their taxes, not this delayed stuff.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, do it the day after you have to pay your taxes. Let's see how you vote.
So the next day, Hillary's doing a big fundraiser for what at her house.
Now, is this at the New York house, or is it at the Hampton house? Where is
I don't know. One of their places.
Well,
somebody sent me the flyer.
Oh, there's a flyer for it.
Oh yeah,
sweet.
The picture of Hillary when she was like 30, smiling.
Well, I don't have much on the candidates, although I did pick up a great clip. I feel a great clip from Beto, Bobby Francis O'Rourke. As you know, he has quite explicitly said, "Hell yeah, I'm coming to take your guns." No, he said specifically to take your AR-15 and your AK-47. And as you know, my argument, certainly if you look at the Second Amendment, is the reason the United States has guns is so that when the government goes nuts and they, or as some would say, tyrannical, then they know that they got to watch themselves. This is the problem that the yellow vests have. This is the problem what the Dutch farmers have. You can protest all you want, and these two countries specifically, with the United Kingdom, there's actual laws against your freedom of speech. You can say anything you want as long as it doesn't cause a divide in the social discourse. Well, what's the point of speech then? It's actually legal, punishable by 2 years in Gitmo lowlands. The United Kingdom, you can't even say anything disparaging about a politician. You can go to jail. So it's incredible. Why? Because the people have no guns. If the politicians are very careful in the United States, that's why they have bodyguards. Because it's the people. There's anywhere 1,000 guns in every neighborhood. That's our power. They don't have to use them. They just have to know we have them. And Beto O'Rourke made an argument against my argument.
For those who wonder, what is the counter-argument to the one that I made? That Americans shouldn't have weapons designed for war that can, in under 40 seconds, kill 10 people. Here in your community, in under 3 minutes, kill 22. The best argument, or one of the best arguments that I think I've heard, is that the Second Amendment is intended to ensure that the American public, if they need to, can provide a violent check on their government, a tyrannical administration. People can rise up militarily against their government. We hear about a well-regulated militia. It just so happens, coincidentally, I'm reading a book called Trail of Tears about the history of the Cherokee Nation. And the book starts out in the late 18th century, and there are these militias that are responding to attacks by Cherokees and Creeks, and there are these militias who themselves are going on the offense and attacking Native American communities. It is incredibly bloody. That is a militia at that time defending or going on the offense for a given community. In my reading of U.S. history, we settled this question about whether we should be able to rise up against our government in 1865 in a courthouse in Appomattox, Virginia. Right now, if you wanted to arm yourself sufficient to take on a government that spends $750 billion a year on its military, which is larger than the 10 largest military budgets combined that follow ours, we're going to need more than an AR-15. We're going to need some aircraft carriers, some nuclear submarines.
Cannon!
But I think that in your reading...
Don't you love this guy? So first of all, some false equivalency.
He's brain dead. He is brain dead. He's brain dead.
Yeah. First of all, the Trail of Tears. Okay, that's Elizabeth Warren's turf. So lay off that, Beto. And then to say, oh, the American people with your sad AR-15, you can't beat the American military might with that. You need aircraft carriers. We don't need to fight the army. In fact, I think the army will be on our side if needed. It's you. It's not that we're not going to go and fight the army. You don't order the army around, Beto. Unbelievably shallow and stupid, this guy.
Oh, I've never liked him.
I'd never disliked him, but this is just dumb. It's just dumb.
I've always disliked him.
Yeah, I mean, how can you even make this comparison? Have you seen another increase of Ring doorbell stories on your local news?
No, actually, not here.
Oh, man. Right now, Austin is getting hammered with them. And it
might be a test market.
Oh, these things are everywhere. Everywhere. For packages being stolen is one thing, but now apparently there's a ring you can put in your car. It's not worth playing a clip because it's a very visual thing. So the woman apparently left her car unlocked, but she has a ring device on the dashboard, and so this kid gets in. The thing is triggered by motion. It goes on, but it also flashes on like a mini LED floodlight. And this kid, he's like, "Whoa!" And he's looking right in the camera, his eyes wide. And of course, it's everyone's laughing about it, and the news is laughing about it. But in the meantime, there's story after story after story about how people are being saved, and thank God for the Ring doorbell. And there's Ring for in your car, there's Ring for on the front of the house, there's Ring for the side, it's in the lamps, it's everywhere. And apparently the cops have continuous access to it. It's so disturbing. And people think it's great, but meanwhile, this is Skynet. Skynet.
Yeah, a little bit. 1984 more so, but can you imagine where they say, what we'd like to do if we could control the public, because they're not buying a lot of these ideas, and it's going to cost a fortune to put cameras everywhere, and they're not going to like it.
Have the slaves buy it themselves.
Convince them to spy on themselves as a good thing. We can do it. We own the media.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
And it saves, you get the money, it saves the government.
Oh, they don't need to put this in place.
Saver.
Yeah, they don't need to put anything in place. Everyone's doing it voluntarily. And of course, no one thinks it through. They don't think it through. But also, most people don't care. Whatever, they know anything anyway.
Most
they can
people
see
don't
me.
Care. It's not a matter of thinking it through. They don't care. Hey, it works for me. I'm great. I'm good with it.
Yeah. And then and you'll appreciate this. Guardian did a big story, headline, collision course. Why are cars killing more pedestrians? And as it turns out, since last year, 5% more Americans have been killed, pedestrians, by vehicles. In total, it's up 41% since 2008. And can you believe it? Would you believe that this is this kind of is a global thing? And this is the Guardian. Yeah, they couldn't get much more tardy than the Tardian. Let's call him that. The Tardian from the UK. So at the end of the article, they're like, well, could be because people are distracted when they're walking. You think? So they go through all this talk about, I'm reading from the article, all this talk about pedestrian distraction, driver distraction. That's all a distraction, says Ben Well of the World Resource Institute for Sustainable Cities. It puts all the responsibility on the individuals and not the operate. So it's just this big bullshit article. And what does it wind up with? 5G in cars. That will do it. And that'll save us because
what? How does that have anything to do with anything?
Because the cars will see the pedestrians and will not kill them.
Bull crap. What car? What car do you own that can do that?
No, of course not. I don't have that. But that's their solution.
Those are 5G. These 5G people are shameless.
Yeah.
But yes, I've noticed it the other day. Saw somebody standing on the corner and they were looking at their phone. I don't know why. And they just walked into the street.
It's
just walk right into the street.
Yeah, I know.
I saw him a mile away, so I had stopped. But if somebody else was more careful, I'll tell you, combine people walking around like zombies and auto drive, on Teslas
is great. It's going to be dynamite.
Death toll high.
I have the game. Where you give yourself points, 1 point for someone walking on the street with the phone, 2 points if they're standing on the phone in the street, 3 points if they're walking while on the phone, 5 points if you're in the car while on the phone. And someone asks how many points if someone walks into traffic and gets hit. I think you get a free ball at that point. I mean, that's just, you just go home. Wherever you were, go back home and celebrate. A jingle for you, John.
Jonesy, Dvorak, Baker, Light Pride. Today's Teddy K, he's an OTG kind of guy.
It's brand new, everybody. Bam!
No, his phone cannot be tracked because he never installed the app. If he needs to know a fact, he asks millennials to look it up.
By your favorite band, no less. Everyone knows you're a big Rush fan. So.
Rush.
You mentioned the Tesla.
Progressive rock in Canada. Hey, progressive rock in Canada. Hey, it's pretty good. Rush, great band. I love them.
The IRS is now saying that at least $74 million in federal electric vehicle tax credits were bogative, and their algos couldn't find it for 2018.
Oh, please!
Because you buy a Tesla, would you get deduct $7,000? I think was the number.
It's a good amount of money.
7,500, yeah.
If you play your cards right, Teslas are not really an expensive car because they're so subsidized, which is the real genius of Elon Musk.
In fact, number one sales in Europe. What country is the number one seller of Teslas?
Deutschland?
No, the Netherlands, above Deutschland.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, the Netherlands also gives a subsidy on top of the subsidy that the car already has built into it, and in many places you get free parking, and that's why it's just like screw it.
Yeah, that ends soon. Well, let's play this electric cars in China clip, and it's a short one, and I will tell you some of the visuals that you missed out on.
BYD is also greening the city's taxi fleet. Almost all of the city's 22,000 cabs are electric. But some drivers wish they weren't forced to make the switch.
Electric taxi drivers definitely earn less because it takes several hours to recharge the car. Sometimes we have to wait in line. 2 months ago, I waited in line 1 hour or more for a charging station. Then it took me 2 hours to recharge. Those are hours I could have been working.
But he has no choice. The central planners of China's government say they're committed to ensuring the electric vehicle market becomes a world leader. This year, China imposed an emissions credit system that requires car manufacturers to reduce emissions below a certain level or pay for credits from other companies. That's an expenditure they want to avoid, so they're being compelled to go more green. And that applies to domestic and international companies.
I can't wait to hear what I missed visually.
So they show a lineup of taxis going into the charging area. And the lineup is like a half a mile long, and like he says, is an hour wait. Then they show the charging area. Thousands of chargers. Thousands.
Wow.
And they're packed with taxis, and there's a line going up. Because when you're dependent on this, imagine what the gasoline lines would be like, or even any gasoline station, if you had you drove up to a pump and you stuck the thing in your car.
And you had to wait an hour.
2 hours. 2 hours to fill up the tank.
Yeah.
If it took 2 hours to fill up a tank, can you imagine what the gasoline lines would be like? There's not enough charging stations, and this is really one of the kind of the bottlenecks of the whole scheme. Now, NIO, that company, the real popular Chinese electric car maker, I think it's NIO, N-I-O, I'm not sure. But we have one of our No Agenda folk that lives in Oakland, works for them. One of our producers.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the right idea, and Tesla's thought about trying to do this, and they just couldn't. They didn't engineer it right away, so now they can't do it, or they can't do it now. Which is the NIO. You drive in to a charging station, and it puts you on a lift, drops your battery pack out, puts your battery pack
I've seen an animation of that. Yeah,
and you're on your way.
Wait, didn't that fail in Israel? Didn't one of our
Israel had
Knights
a
have
similar situation with cheesier cars?
Even
Israel,
cheesier?
was the Chinese are more likely to make this work.
Yeah.
Seems to me. I could be wrong. But anyway, that's one possibility. But then you have to have these giant warehouses full of charged batteries.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just impractical. That's the reason gasoline. You have to remember that around the turn of this old century, in the early 1900s, electric cars were very popular. Jay Leno has a number of specials on the electric cars.
You know, I've become a bit addicted to Jay Leno's Garage on YouTube.
Yeah, you said that.
I said it also after the show.
Yeah,
yes,
it was after the show.
But
it's a very entertaining. It's very educational. That's why you're addicted to it.
Do you know what I like the best though? Not the electric cars. My favorite is the steam cars. We can bring that back. The steam cars
Every
are
once in a while
great.
somebody tries to bring it back,
and they're just really cool. I mean, it's like
but
one
they go
huge
like bats out of hell. Extremely.
Yeah, they do 65, 70 top speed, and the torque is like rips the asphalt out of the pavement almost. Yeah, I like that. I mean, you got to keep your car on fire.
The idea of the electric car was, according to Leno's Garage, that's where I got this information. That somebody lecturing it. They were much more popular than the gasoline car for the early days, and the steam car looks like it might have made a move in. And then at some point, when they put in this infrastructure of gasoline stations and the convenience of a high energy liquid that you can just put in the car and then it goes away, you don't have to swap it out. It beat those other technologies, and it's, to me, still the most practical way to power an automobile. Well, even though the engines, I think, are too complicated.
In the Netherlands, Troll Hadem says, you know why Tesla is cheap in the Netherlands? Not the price of the car necessarily. Gasoline is so expensive. Half of the same all over Europe. Half of the price of your gallon or liter of gas is taxes. It's 5 times as expensive in the U.S. So I understand where they're coming from, but it's going to end ugly.
What doesn't? Do you have the Joe? I have the Sunday Joe Biden clip of the week.
Oh, we need. Hold on a second. Yeah, we got something here.
He's a little bit creepy.
That's not the one I wanted, but
creepy Uncle Joe Biden.
That's not the one I was looking for. This is the one I was looking for.
Joe's Gaffe of the Week.
All right, time for Joe's Gaffe of the Week. What you got lined up for us today, Jean?
Well, this is a weird botch because this little bit that he does here, he actually, besides having flubs in it, he uses it himself for his campaign. It's part of a Joe Biden campaign ad. But let's play it. We'll see what's wrong with it.
You know, if there are any angels in heaven, they're all male and female nurses. And they're not getting paid enough. They're not getting treated enough. And all those home care workers, they should be trained how to increase their capacity to serve everything. I mean, we can do this.
What? Wait, to serve what?
They're not getting paid enough and they're not getting treated enough. I thought that was kind of weird. But what it resulted in, the backlash to this was not the bad sentence structures, but it was from the left, his own supporters. There are more than 2 genders.
Oh, goodness.
Joe's Gaffe of the Week. I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
There's a few people to thank for show 1179. But before we do, I actually have a clip.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that's okay. This is a clip that leads into this. And I want to play the clip first so people realize what they're in for. There's a YouTube celebrity who worked with, or Twitch celebrity, who worked with what were called sponsored streams, which was native ads.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's name is Jericho. And he was involved with a lot of sponsored streams or native ads. And they had one, and Adam and I can both discuss a little bit of this because there's one little mention in here of legal action. When you do these sponsored streams, you usually sign a non-disclosure for example, at Mevio, they had some sponsored crap from, it was Verizon, I think, or one of the big phone companies. And they were going to do some ads for Verizon. And so you had to sign off in this. I never got involved with this particularly because I was irked about it because everyone got a free phone. But I read the document, and it's very specific about what you can and cannot say about Verizon or any of the other companies. Mm-hmm. You can't even mention the other companies. That really gets them bent out of shape.
Yeah. That was you couldn't wear. It was for Sprint when you could not wear anything purple.
Yeah.
Because that was the color of T-Mobile, even though they later acquired them. Oh, no, it was Verizon. I'm sorry. Verizon wouldn't let you wear yellow or purple because Verizon's red and no purple and no yellow. That's it.
So this guy got himself in a jam, and he explains it, and he's been pretty much blackballed now, and he can't get, his income has dropped to zero. But listen to him explain what happened. This is Jericho. Yeah, go.
Just put me in the doghouse for a while. You know, it's fine. I can tell you about it because it's my fault, okay? Basically, I did a sponsored stream with McDonald's and Uber Eats, and at the beginning of the stream, I accidentally said, because I was just trying to show off the Big Mac coins that they had sent me, I took them and I had a Freudian slip, right? Like when you call your teacher mom. I took the coins back and I said, and McDonald's sent me 100 Whopper coins. And I was like, immediately I was like, I didn't mean to say that. Like, it was what it was. And then basically, and then also I was playing Smash and my character is red. And the skin's Red Robin. Okay, so I said that, and it was the first time that McDonald's was working with Twitch in that capacity, and they were using me as the poster boy for it. And McDonald's was very, 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 very upset. To the point where there was legal issues involved, and Twitch's higher ups that got that campaign were very, 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 very upset as well. And as a result, I'm no longer going to be doing any brand deals with Twitch for the foreseeable future. So I'm working on trying to figure out a way to make that smooth over with McDonald's, but it's a very serious issue, a very big mistake that I made. And I am absolutely in the doghouse with that, and it was an honest mistake, but you can't make mistakes like that when you're working with some of the world's biggest brands, you know?
Yeah. Imagine if I had said nothing burger. Done. Goodbye. No more show. McDonald's would stop sponsoring immediately.
I found this to be I knew about sponsored streams, but then I forgot about the Verizon deal that was done at Mevio, where they had stuff like he just mentioned. His character was Red Robin, another competitor. You can't mention them, and he changed it from Whopper. He said the word Whopper.
Yeah.
Which you can't do. I mean, this is what you're up against, and what the kind of crap you get. The general public is just being fed junk by the media. The media is lost. It's a lost cause. That's why we have to do it the way we do it.
It's the only way that enables us to actually speak freely and not be. The only thing we have to worry about is each other, basically.
Yeah.
Keep each other alive.
Condemn each other, get mad, and then one of us will just walk. I've had it with you.
I'm getting my Zimmer frame and I'm out.
You go on the ham radio, try to do a show there.
Yeah. We get.
I'll get one of those cameras. I have my face in the camera, be yelling at you.
All the more appreciation for our supporters who are really producers. That's why we address you as such, because you make it happen. Not just the financial part, although incredibly important for us because we need to pay the bills, pay our own bills. But just look at what you bring to the table: information, help, data, documents, experience, just overall crazy ideas.
Yeah, feet on the ground.
Good. Yeah, boots on the ground is what it's all about.
Boots on the ground, and people in the agencies.
Thank you so much, people in the agencies.
Yes, you help. You help. Philip Worth is the top of the list from Myerstown, Pennsylvania. He came in at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Followed by M. Andrew Jones at 11111. He's the one a note I read earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You have these meetups going on. Brandon Johnson in Essex, Connecticut, 8888.
If you don't mind, I'd like to read this because this is also from a meetup. And this is an interesting note. Forgive me, Podfather, for I have sinned. I've been listening since 2010 and have never donated. Here's a de-douche.
You've been de-douched.
I attended the Worcester, a.k.a. Worcester meetup in Massachusetts. I met some cool guys, Chris or Ernesto, and not Jake. The ratio was 3 to 1, as in 3 white men to 1 black man and 3 producers to 1 douchebag. I don't know how I made it out alive. Just kidding. Everybody was great, but the debaggery could no longer stand. I feel like I'm part of a sleeper cell of Negroes with the no agenda community that has never donated. Let me explain. Black men, it says black men people, but I think it was black men want to ball out of control like the rappers do. Just ask Mo. So to me, the ultimate donation in my mind is an Insta-night. So it's all or nothing. I have dreams of screaming Insta-night, nigga. I'm reading verbatim. This boob donation will have to do for now, and someday I will have my Insta-night. Uncle John, I love you, no homo. Thank you for your courage. No Agenda is the best podcast in the universe. The second best podcast in the universe, according to the Mueller report, is Negro Agenda. Damn. Negro Agenda, a.k.a. Mo Facts with Freddy the Firewall. Keep the douche on me, but hit me with some relationship karma. I think I just met the woman of my dreams. She's an Air Force flight nurse. She's beautiful, and she's interested in me. Then I need some James Brown ISIS in America for my soul. Stay black, says Brandon Johnson. We'll put that at the end for you, Brandon. Thank you for the note. Made me laugh. Another note that could not be read in any sponsored circumstance whatsoever.
Well, unless you want to get fired.
Yes, that's a great note. Negro Agenda.
So he is somebody we can call Johnson. Interesting.
That's right.
Sir Jim Zuckel in Beverly Hills, California, 6969. Sir Got Nate in Sebastopol, 6969. Baron Sir Mark Tanner in Whittier, California, 6789. Baron Sir Alan Bean in Oakland. Oh, he should be at 50, but I think. But he's on the list here as 60. Oh. Hector Cartagna in Chatsworth, 5525. David Mary Atkin.
Mary Atkin, something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Hey, long-time donor.
Boner, he says. Give him a de-douching at 55.
You've been de-douched.
We will de-douche.
He's in West Bloomfield, Michigan. He should be in, go find a local one. They have these huge meetups all the time. All over the state of Michigan. Sean in Hanover, Pennsylvania, 5510. Another de-douching.
Oh, holy moly.
You've been de-douched.
I said holy moly.
Yeah, I've said holy moly. Who says holy moly the most? Not between the two of us. But there's somebody that reintroduced it into the lexicon as a public meme.
I don't want to say that I reintroduced it to the show because, people go spending their time finding ways to disprove me. But I remember you laughing.
No, you can't disprove it unless you go through every single episode.
Yeah,
that's not even possible. Onward with Sir Tom Dari in DeForest, Wisconsin, 5510. Francisco Tejeda, 5432. Michael Gates in 5280. Dame Tanya, the Viscountess of New York City. We haven't heard from her for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if she still has her sling box working. I should ask her. 5142.
Wait a minute. She has a birthday. I don't think she's on the list. What is this? I don't think.
No, she's not, because the birthday list only has one person on it. It's not her.
No, okay.
I have to represent in the Dame Drive. That's why she's going.
Dame Tanya.
Also, the Dame Drive. Also, please add me to the birthday list on show 10/6 is her birthday. Love you guys. XOXOO. Dame Tanya, Viscountess
nice.
of New York City.
Nice.
James Neff in Hanover, Pennsylvania. 51, and he's a ham N3 JLN 73s.
73s.
First donation, please de-douche me. Call out.
Hold on.
You've been de-douched.
Call out Shaw KB3ZHC as a douchebag.
That's right. KB3ZHC is a Delta Bravo.
He's a Delta Bravo.
He's a Delta Bravo.
He's a Delta Bravo. Villarreal is 50 from Mercedes, Texas, and these are all $50 donors, name and location, starting with, Miss Tamez Manuchuri.
Yeah, people are just doing it now just to confuse us into pronouncing these crazy names.
Tamez, Taimez Manoucheri.
Tamez Manoucheri.
Villarreal is next. Also, Matthew Januszewski in Chicago. Jeffrey Zinneman in South Euclid, Ohio. Susan Evans in Iron Station, North Carolina. Aichi Kitagawa, we're here in San Francisco. I can wave. He can see me. And last but not least, Brett Farrell in Oklahoma City. We think Oklahoma. I want to thank all these folks for producing Show 1179 and keeping us out of trouble.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it was kind of short, but fun nonetheless. I did enjoy that. Some fun little notes. And thank you for your support of your podcast. It's the No Agenda Show. It's you put it all together. Basically, we are, of course, doing some production here, but a lot of this comes from you, especially the financial side. And I also want to we want to thank everybody who came in under $50, which is often used for anonymity. In fact, I see 2 or 3 there today, but we have great subscriptions you can get on to be a sustaining producer. And for that, you can go to the following website,
Dvorak.org/NA.
Let's make sure we get plenty of health and jobs karma out there today.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
That's right. Today is the 6th of October, 2019, as we get closer to our 12th anniversary. And especially for today, we need to thank... Hold on. Everything slipped away there for a second. Dame Tanya. Not just thank her, but we need to congratulate her as she is celebrating her birthday on this very day. She's Viscountess Dame Tanya. And Dame Jennifer says happy birthday to her husband, Gary's brother from another mother, Paul Quinn, also celebrating today, and he turns 59. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcasting in the universe.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't wanna be a douchebag.
One title change today, Sir Austin of the Snowy Cascades. You heard it earlier. He now becomes a Baron Austin of the Puget Sound. So that's a complete change and also an upgrade in his peerage status to Baron, but moving from Austin of the Snowy Cascades to Baron Austin of the Puget Sound. And thank you for your support in another additional $1,000 to the No Agenda Show. Thank you. You're keeping it rolling along with many other people, and that is highly appreciated. Let's do our nightings. Actually, it's 2 nightings today, and then we'll do a little bit of a meetup report. So I got my... Ow. I was trying to get the sword and hit the button.
So I got mine out. Here you go.
I know. There we go. Thanks. Got it.
Holding it high.
Hold them swords high. To the podium, please. Anonymous dude named Ben and Maxine Waters Gravel. Gentlemen, both of you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. We are very thankful for that. And I am proud to hereby pronounce-ticate thee both nights of the No Agenda Roundtable. So up here on the podium, we say... congratulations and welcome, Sir #blessed and Sir Maxine Waters Gravel, Knight of the Cheap Lass. For you, we have skillets and mint tulips. We got hookers and blow, rent boys and Chardonnay. We got Kava tea, waifus and waffles. We got Rubenesque women and rosé. We got mutton and mead. That's the favorite at the end. Breast milk and paddleman, of course, ginger ale and gerbils. Go to noagendanation.com/rings and Eric the Shill We'll make sure that you get everything as soon as we can possibly get it to you. But you do have to fill out some information so we can find you, and the right ring size, obviously.
No agenda meetups.
Here's what's going on in Meetup Land. If you have not, it's like a party. If you've not participated in one of these meetups, this is something you must do at least once in your life. Go visit a meetup, and you can do that by checking out noagendameetups.com. I'm going to actually put the full meetup schedule in the show notes. For some reason, that hasn't been making it in. And Mimi does a great job of an overview, so make sure you get that. But essentially, for October 10th, South Austin is where that's taking place. And I'm still... See, the 10th, I think that's a Thursday, which is... I'll stop by, but I won't be worth much, you know? It's like, after the show, I'm pretty wiped. Are you tired after the show?
I'm not as tired as I remember when I was doing that Silicon Spin show, which was a half an hour of TV. I was more wiped out by doing TV than just playing audio.
Oh. I know. I'm also standing and I'm active and
I'm not standing. I'm leaning way back in the chaise.
Yeah, we know.
I got the mic kind of on the big thing pulled toward me, so I'm like, I might as well be on my back.
Yeah, I've got the standing desk, and both arms are moving, and everything.
Yeah, you're waving your arms,
and everything's twitching.
Doing jumping jacks sometimes. In fact, I was told by Tina, even though they don't want me to put this out there, that apparently when I'm talking a lot, that's why you don't hear me once in a while, is you drop and do like 10. You do like 10 push-ups, bang, 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 during the show, and then you pop back up. And
I can't believe she told you that. That's so mean.
Yeah, I know.
October 11th, Tokyo. It's going to be a good one with massive royalty there. The guys from Osaka are coming up. We got Earl of Tennessee is going to be there. Of course, Sir Mark Dame Astrid. Wow, I wish I could be there. October 19th, we have meetups in Atlanta and Santa Fe and Orlando. It's a triple threat. The 20th of October, Louisville, Kentucky. 24th, Nashville, Tennessee. The 25th, Portland, Oregon, and Charlotte, North Carolina. The 26th, Nashville, Tennessee, again. Wow. That seems pretty tight. I'll have to figure out what's going on there. And also Colorado Springs, Colorado. Please go to noagendameetups.com to see, get all the information. And most meetup reports are also, or many are posted there. I hope all of them will be posted there. I did want to highlight this one from Hendrik, Sir Hendrik from Gitmo Nation Lowlands, with the meetup report for the second meetup in Utrecht, the Netherlands. That was this past Friday. 11 people showed up. 3 from the last meetup, 8 new producers and douchebags. Dearly missed was Sir Endipity from Gitmo Nation Bacalo. He was tied up with work somewhere in Gitmo Lowlands. Nonetheless, 3 foreigners showed up, one from St. Martin, one from California, and one from Texas. Embarrassingly, knights and dames showed up without their rings. Attendees, Samuel from The Hague, Sir Bob of the Clueless Country from Herpen. I'm going to give you some of their job descriptions because he put that in the report, just to give you an idea of the kind of people you'll meet at a No Agenda meetup. So Samuel from The Hague is IT human resources. Sir Bob of the Clueless Country from Herpen is in financial investments. Ed van Dijk and his brother from Herpen, network specialist. Jacob Hopper from Maastricht, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Corey Stringer, also from Maastricht. She does Jacob, is what she explained. I guess I guess they're a couple. Sir Rob from Leiden in IT. Robin Duisberg from The Hague, IT. Dame Jacobina from Veldhoven works in M5M. Sir Heerko from Utrecht in sales and IT. Peter Beukelman from Houten and his crowd. I guess he brought his kids. He's a chip designer. And, of course, himself, Sir Hendrik, Knight of the Black Sabre from Utrecht, sales in chemical engineering and catering, which chemical engineering and catering go together incredibly well, it turns out. We discussed jingles, earlobes predicting diabetes, cannabis, the 5G rollout, and many other topics. Good times were had by all. This is exactly what this is about. This is what makes it so fantastic. Is you meet all these people, you can learn about them, you can joke, you can have fun. Doesn't matter what you look like, how old you are, where you're coming from. No triggering because no one's triggered because the amygdalas are small and usually good time is had by all. NoAgendaMeetups.com. It's something I highly recommend. And please, if you're a ham radio operator, consider checking into our all-star node. It is 50450, but just go to k5acc.com. All the information is there, and you can also get there through Echolink as well. And wow. There we go. That's it. I think. No, I've done all the jingles, done all that. Then I have this.
Dogs are people too.
7-year-old, now named Sexy Vegan, was arrested on 1 count of sexual assault on an animal and 1 count of posting obscene matter. It's not the first time Vegan has been in the media. The man appeared on Dr. Phil in 2017 when his family called attention to his outlandish behaviour, including getting a tattoo of his name on his face. If found guilty of the sexual assault charge, he faces up to a year in jail.
There you go. That's the way you do it. Dogs are people too. Assault them sexually. At least we're honest about it. Nice.
Wow. Now, I have a couple of clips. I got a fact or fake follow-up. You wanted to hear that segment every once in a while?
Yeah.
We don't have a jingle for it?
We do not have a fact or fake jingle. I
do have something to report. I just thought about it.
Okay.
The Zephyr went by this morning.
Yes. How many cars?
It had 9 cars, and it was missing the kind of dome observation.
The observation deck. Oh, really?
Was not. Yeah, that one car's got all these big windows, and it wasn't on the train.
Well, then it's not really a Zephyr.
I don't know what it is. So
it's a phony.
So the fact or fake, we got two. I got 2 options. I would like to go, and this is again a segment that's done on France 24 on behalf of the globalists, to make it seem that the EU is just the greatest bunch of guys, and they're just helping everybody do their own thing. Yeah. And so here's the latest one. We're going to run with this one. This is the fact or fake. The EU is bringing it. They start with a piece of fiction and then they debunk it. This is on GM salmon.
Well, this story originated with a declaration by the head of the European election candidate list for France's far-right Rassemblement National, the party previously known as the Front National. During an election rally, Jordan Bardella claimed that the EU's international trade treaties were allowing imports into France of, quote, hormone beef, genetically modified salmon, and chlorine-washed chicken. Well, Jordan Bardella is not the first person to make such claims. The European Commission rebuffed his assertion, however, in a tweet, saying that all 3 products are banned in Europe. So, who's right? Well, none of the products cited by Mr. Bardella are commercially available in the EU, neither homegrown or as imports. The hormone beef ban dates back to 1988. All GM food, meanwhile, has to obtain official authorization, and it has not been given in the case of salmon. As for washing chicken in chlorine, that was formally banned in the EU in 1997. Only drinking-grade water can be used to decontaminate animal products. Well, the World Trade Organization is currently examining a challenge to this ban, but it is still in place for now. There are fears that the EU-Canada trade deal, CETA, could lead to loopholes regarding such foods. Canada doesn't label GM salmon as such, raising worries that it could enter the EU fraudulently. The European Commission, however, has no say over border checks. This is a matter handled by member states.
Well, that was a lot of information.
At the end of the day, it's always handled by member states because we're not really a giant, empire. The member states take care of this. Yeah. Even though there's no border controls or anything, things come and they go. If you go into one state, they go to all of them. I mean, this whole thing is a scam. But they just beat around the bush about GM is not allowed with salmon, but they never said anything about beef. It was confusing. Yeah, you're right. It was confusing.
Well, I could hear
is fine. It's fine, Adam.
I could hear the chlorine chicken. That's when my eyes glaze over.
The chlorine chicken.
The chlorine chicken again. That old gaff.
Yeah, well.
Well, let's end with something strong, if you don't mind. I'm looking at you.
I have something strong because I have a couple of things. I have a 2-parter which I can put off.
As long as it's strong.
The Fiaker in Austria is kind of interesting to me.
No, I mean strong, not interesting, strong.
Showing net neutrality judgment. Netanyahu could be arrested.
Yeah. What is this I Love Babies jingle? I didn't know you had a jingle.
I don't have I Love Babies jingle.
It's in your folder.
Well, I didn't put it in there. You did.
No, let me listen.
I love babies. Oh. We got to start eating babies.
I didn't realize.
Babies.
You're right. I put that mistake.
Tastes like both.
It was supposed to be played back in the baby clip. I guess I missed it because I put it in your folder. It's a good one. It's a variation of the Bugs. Well, should we just
classic?
So we just leave it at that? I thought that was the best. That was a strong ending.
Good to go.
That's a strong ending.
We'll go.
We'll leave it at that. But we will be back on the second Sunday or the first Thursday of the week, whichever way you want to look at it, which apparently is the same day as the South Austin meetup. It shouldn't be too hard for me to get there. Dan, you never know what'll happen, but we'll be all over it, guaranteed. So keep it coming. Everything that we can get from you is appreciated. We've got Grumpy Old Ben's coming up with their latest show, I think episode 29, about the climate change. I'll be monitoring after the show, a little bit after the show. Find out more at k5acc.com. And remember us at dvorak.org/NA. End of show mixes. Thank you, Jesse Coy Nelson, Danny Luce, and that's what we have. Secret Agent Paul. Coming to you. What?
I forgot to get to my phone report. I got a new phone. I'm going to give a review of it, and because all these other podcasts make hay with doing reviews of phones, I'll do it next show for sure.
Until then, coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33, FEMA region number 6 in the governmental maps. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Adios, mofos, and such.
More than ever, you don't walk or ride bikes, just spend all day and night on an electronic device who've required air conditioning in every classroom. Going on strike for climate change, global warming hoax, private cars that choke suburban roads.
Suffocating smoke from wildfires.
Climate change.
Me such bad headache.
Now you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your biggest consumers of manufactured goods ever.
Will someone think of the turtle?
To get them all, I said, well, what's the aircon?
Eat them because they eat the plastic bags because I think they're jellyfish.
On the curb, getting rusty.
How do you feel about this? Is this so extreme?
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch.
It's about Ukraine and China. Choke suburban road future.
We're afraid for their futures.
So what could happen? Quality. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. Educated, virtue-signaling little turd. A bunch of bad boys.
Sri Lanka to look at the
What? It teaches to switch off the aircon. Badly educated, virtue-signaling little turd. Yeah, I said, hey, Esther.
Because of our plastic use.
You're leaving here.
It's about think of the turtle. Virtue-signaling little turd. Off the aircon. Badly educated.
They eat the plastic bags because I think they're jellyfish.
More children change. Wow, what do we do about this? Just to switch off the air. Climate change is real. Tell your teachers to make a sandwich. Whoa, I'm surprised no one thinks that. But I was meeting with a cola cube.
I think they're enormously serious. And the fact that the Wall Street Journal,
a bunch of bad boys,
story, wanted the New York Times, the Washington Post, but this is not a false news, a fake news.
Had to wear a baby cap. And back in those days, you saw how things had changed. One of the things you had to use if you used pomade.
Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States. It's a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America.
As soon as he was elected,
I am so sorry.
They wanted him removed.
To my world, I am so sorry to my world.
They do it anyway.
The Democrats have argued for nearly 3 years.
Even if nothing was proved.
The evidence of collusion is hidden.
How about collusion?
Just around the corner, like the Loch Ness Monster.
With Vladimir Putin.
They insist it's there.
It's a Russian betrayal.
Even if no one can find it.
Let's send Orange Man to jail. Will they try to impeach? What a zero! What the hell are they trying it for? It'll never happen. And there was Daniel.
Cashing in on controversy.
She was so stormy.
Says making America horny again here.
But there was no sizzle.
I guess that you can take from that what you will.
The scandal was a fizzle.
This is the Twitter storm sensation.
Now it's Ukraine. All about a phone call. But Hunter Biden is shady. That whole deal was shady. And will they try to impeach? What a zero. What the hell are they trying it for? It's not gonna happen. Joe Biden run. Because Hillary's got a gun.
ISIS.
We will follow them to the gates of hell.
ISIS.
I feel good.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
We got to start eating babies.